University of Notre Dame on opening day for Irish football. Few events in the college football world can match the excitement and sense of anticipation. In early September, the sunlight glinting off the Golden Dome, as bright as prospects for the coming season. Irish faithful crowd the campus, last year's return to glory, fueling optimism for the coming campaign. The first game opponent, unfamiliar but formidable, Washington State off a Rose Bowl appearance, facing Notre Dame for the first time. From sold-out Notre Dame Stadium, the Washington State Cougars, who shut out Idaho 25-0 in their first game, facing the 19th-ranked Fighting Irish, who opened the season today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Notre Dame Stadium. Tom Hammond and Pat Hayden here for the Irish football opener. And word today coming that Courtney Watson, the All-American candidate linebacker, who was the leading tackler for the Irish a season ago, will be on the sideline in street clothes, not playing today. You see him looking on in pregame warm-ups. Watson, no reason given for his absence today, other than Coach Tyrone Willingham will address it in his post-game press conference. Well, Pat, speaking of Coach Willingham, in his first season last year, it was the return to glory. The Irish won 10 games, and that means optimism is running very high in Notre Dame Stadium today. What can they do to duplicate or even better last year?
Well, it was a magical year for the Irish and Tyrone Willingham. Got off to that 8-0 start largely because of the defense and largely because his core players last year played well. Again this year, Tyrone's core players, like quarterback Carla Holiday, he has to complete, I think, 55% of his passes this year. New left tackle Jim Molinaro has to cut down on those 38 sacks they had a year ago. Vontez Depp, well, if he can play like he did last year, that's a good thing. He was sensational a year ago. Justin Tuck had 5 sacks. I think he can double that this year, Tom. He's that kind of pass rusher. And Nick Setta, the way they play offense, they're going to have maybe 2 or 3 games where Nick Setta is going to have a chance to win the game. I think if those core players have as good or better a year as they had a year ago, they can have a very big season.
We could also pose the same question about the Cougars of Washington State. Co-champions in the Pac-10 a season ago, made an appearance in the Rose Bowl. They have lost some key players. They also lost their coach, Mike Price, replaced by South Bend native Bill Doba.
Yeah, he grew up 8 miles from right here from this stadium. Bill Doba, the very likable Bill Doba, but he's got some really important guys to replace. At quarterback steps in Matt Kegel, who is a fifth-year senior, but he has played a lot of games in 26 ball games. He is blessed to have 3 powerful runners today, and Jonathan Smith, Chris Bruin, and Jermaine Green. 2 of them went over 100 yards last week. And you make them think they're a passing team, but they can really pound it at you. And Tom, this Washington State team, you think about the Pac-10, you think about SC or UCLA or Washington, no one in the Pac-10 has won more games over the past 2 years than Washington State.
Of course, they could make a huge statement by defeating Notre Dame at Notre Dame today before the 168th consecutive sellout. We're about ready for kickoff. Before we do, let's go down to Lewis Johnson on the field with Coach Tyrone Willingham.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, Coach, all are wondering why your leading tackler from last season, your preseason All-American for this year, Courtney Watson, is not dressing and will not play today.
Well, it's unfortunate, but that's an issue that I'll address after the ball game.
And that's it?
That is it.
All right, expectations. 80,000 here are expecting at least a repeat, as well as those people out there watching the Notre Dame faithful. What are your expectations for the season? 10-3 at least is what they expect.
We're not interested in a repeat. Our young men didn't practice for a repeat. What we want to do is be a better football team, and that's what we're trying to start today.
All right, Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
Tom?
All right, Lewis, the golden helmets held skyward on an absolutely gorgeous afternoon for college football. Notre Dame won the toss. They have deferred to the second half, so Washington State will get the ball first. That's a look at Sammy Moore, who is deep to receive the kickoff by Nicholas Setta, who will be a busy man today, not only kicking off, but handling the place kicking and the punting duties for the Irish today.
And Sammy Moore returned a kickoff for a touchdown against Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl.
Setta's kick, and the Irish football season is underway, and he buries it in the end zone. Moore will down it there, and the Cougars will take over at their 20-yard line. Matt Kegel, who served his apprenticeship and now is ready to step into the starting role as the quarterback full-time for the Cougars.
You see, even though he's a 50-year senior and only this hasn't started much, he has played a lot, thrown over for over 1,000 yards and played in 26 games.
Starting lineups presented by Adidas, with a big offensive line in front of Kegel.
They are tall, that offensive line. Very, very tall.
Green, Harvey, Darling, Moore, and Benneman, the backs and receivers. First down, and Kegel back to pass. Plenty of time, and sends it downfield. Darling makes the catch under pressure right in front of Vontez Duff. It goes for 37 yards as the Cougars, known for their quick strike, and here's a late flag coming in as well. The Cougars known for that quick strike offense. Pat showed us more run last week, but here they hit the big one.
And what a great call by Mike Levenseller, the offensive coordinator. I mean, you come into a stadium, you're trying to quiet the crowd, Notre Dame crowd. Big play right away. And he had actually led Darling. It might have been a touchdown. He had to stop and jump up and out-rebound the defender. I think it was against Vontez Duff as well, their best corner.
Against the All-American candidate Vontez Duff. But a flag came in after the play was over, and it's being discussed right now.
That ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down, Washington State.
Gordon Reese, the referee for our Pac-10 officiating crew today.
Again, a little roll out to the right for Kegel, get away from the pressure, and Justin Tuck in particular. And watch the play here. You know, it turned into a basketball player, did Darling. 11 touchdown catches, a little out and up on an over-aggressive Vontez Duff. Good play call, good adjustment by Darling.
So after the penalty, the ball set back into Cougar territory. Jermaine Green gets his first carry, and Brandon Hoyt from that thin linebacking core of the Irish makes the tackle for Notre Dame. And let's set the Notre Dame defense. The Adidas starting lineups for the Irish. And Justin Tuck, the starter, was the pass rush specialist last season. Campbell Landry gets a start at nose tackle, and Budensack, Hoyt, Mays, and Curry, that linebacker core, in the absence not only of Courtney Watson, but the injured Mike Goolsby.
Yeah, and Cedric Hilliard, normally the nose tackle, he is injured, he's going to play, but Landry gets the start.
Duff, Bible, Earl, and Beckstrom in the secondary. Here's a 2nd down and 9. Kegel, play action fake. His pass across the middle and too tall for his intended receiver, Cody Boyd, the tight end.
That's really tall because he's 6'8", when you say too tall. I think this Cody Boyd, number 80, is a freshman. I think he's going to have a big 4-year career at Washington State, and he's going to drive strong safeties and free safeties crazy in the Pac-10 this year.
Redshirt freshman from Bellingham, Washington.
Blocked 2 field goal attempts last week. A big tight end that can get down the field.
It's 3rd and long for the Cougars on the opening drive of the game.
And here's Justin Tuck, that pass rusher, the defensive end, the right defensive end.
6 defensive backs for the Irish who show blitz, but back out of it. Kegel under pressure, and that'll be grounding. The ball did not reach the line of scrimmage. Kyle Budensack was the man all over Matt Kegel.
We were talking to Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator of Notre Dame yesterday, and he was saying Kyle Budensack was the only guy that stayed healthy all camp. And he said he had a great camp. Thought there's Kent Baer did just a great job with the Notre Dame defense, particularly early in the year, last year. But Kyle Budensack just outruns the block of the tackle light body and makes the stuff.
There's the flag flying in for the illegal grounding. And so the Cougars, after the 37-yard pass play on 1st down, was somewhat nullified by the penalty. See Kegel and company stall. And now the dangerous Vontez Duff is deep to receive Bosler's punt. Kyle Bosler.
He is a weapon as a returner. Vontez Duff.
Bosler sends a good one towards Vontez Duff. Fields it at the 25-yard line. And Duff, covered well by the Washington State special teams, takes it to the 32-yard line. 44-yard punt, 6 yards for Duff on the return. And the Irish, with their quarterback Carlisle Holiday in his 2nd season under the Willingham West Coast offense, will be under center for the Irish. And a holding call against Notre Dame will put them further back.
You know, and Tom, I'll be very surprised if Carlisle Holiday doesn't have a much better year than a year ago. Completed, as we said at the very top, only 50% of his passes. In this West Coast offense, they throw so many short passes, you really should complete between 55 and 60%.
Holding by the receiving team during the return. 10 yards from the end of the run. First down, Notre Dame.
I just expect him to see the field a lot better this year.
And here is the Adidas Notre Dame starting lineup. That offensive line, a big question mark for the Irish. With Powers Neal, who's moved from tailback to fullback. Ryan Grant over 1,000 yards last season. Jenkins, Stovall, and Palmer, the tight end.
4 new offensive linemen.
First down from the 22. Holiday, play action fake, under pressure. Rolls, caught with the ankles and sacked back of the 12-yard line by Will Dirting, one of the linebackers who was blitzing for the Cougars.
And Washington State a year ago set a school record, 55 sacks. They've got real quick defensive ends, small defensive ends, and very active linebackers. And Will Dirting, number 51, you see him. They like the way he blitzes. And Carl Holliday did a smart thing there, just accepted the sack.
Washington State lineups: Brown, Williams, Tupai, and of course Genatone, Jackson, and Dirting, who made that last sack. Pema, Williams, Coleman, and David. McKnight in motion. Here's the handoff to Ryan Grant. Cutting back and finding a little seam. Takes it across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and long. Jason David, the tackle for the Cougars.
Tom, we talked about 4 new offensive linemen coming in for Notre Dame this year. Molinaro started the last 3 games. Milligan has the 17, but this is a question mark. Before Morton there with 0 starts, Stevenson with just 1 start, and this is not where you want to be at 3rd and what is it, 16?
3rd and 16 with 3 wides coming on the field for Coach Willingham.
And these defensive ends for Washington State last year, between them, 14.5 sacks.
This is not the situation that they want to be in, as you said, because everyone knows they're going to have to put it in the air. Just beat the play clock. Holliday got good protection, and he goes for Stovall, and it's deflected, incomplete. Nice defensive play by Carl Pema, one of the corners for the Cougars, who was covering the 6'5" Stovall down the field.
You know, the ball was in the air a little bit too long and allowed Carl Pema to really react and knock it away. Watch how long this ball's in the air. Good play by Pema, replacing the #1 draft pick, Marcus Trufant, who went on to the NFL, but that's a really good play by Carl Pema.
Pema got 3 starts last season. And Nicholas Setta will punt, handling, as we said earlier, the punting and place-kicking duties. A rarity not only for the Irish, but in all of college football. Pressure on him. He got it away, and he boomed it. Setta backing Moore all the way up inside his 30. Moore dancing and tackled inside the 35-yard line. Hit made by Jason Beckstrom on special teams as Setta unloaded a bomb on his first punt of the season. We're scoreless in the first quarter at Notre Dame. Notre Dame football is brought to you by the Document Company, Xerox. There's a new way to look at it. By Hall's Fruit Breezers. When screaming fans need cool, soothing relief from a dry, scratchy throat, they reach for a Hall's Fruit Breezers. Hall's Fruit Breezers treat your throat. By ADT, America's residential and commercial security leader. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP. And by Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium. Home football opener for the Irish, ranked 19th in the AP poll. And a slight favorite over the Cougars of Washington State, who come in 1-0. 1 possession each in the first quarter and a punt on each side. The last one, 55 yards by Nicholas Setta.
First punts we've seen in a while, Tom.
From the 36, handoff. And a spinning move by Jermaine Green. Green still on his feet. Nice run. He got about 7 yards on first down, short of the 45-yard line. Tackled by Justin Tuck and Derek Curry.
You know, Tom, we talked about the 2 great years that Bill Doba and his staff, Mike Price prior to him, had. Most wins since 2001. Surprising list. Only 6 teams have won more games than Washington State over the last couple of years. And, you know, we were talking to Coach Doba yesterday, and he said this year's kind of critical because they want to become really a football program, not just kind of a 1-year wonder or 2-year wonder. So this is a key year for him.
Pitch to Green. Jermaine Green fights his way forward for an apparent first down for the Cougars. Just short of midfield. Over the years with Mike Price, Washington State was known as a quick strike, big play team. Under Bill Doba, the former defensive coordinator, they looked like they wanted to put a little more balance in their game against Idaho last week and had 200-yard rushers, as you pointed out, in that first game.
Yeah, 351 yards rushing.
They rush for a first down here, and they have the ball at their own 47-yard line. Jonathan Smith in at running back and lines up as a wideout. Here's a penalty marker. Smith on the slant with a blocker. And he's down inside the 40-yard line of Notre Dame. 16 yards if it stands.
Well, you know, that's a clever play, again, by Mike Levenseller, the offensive coordinator. Empty backfield, although it wasn't 5 wide receivers. They just shifted Jonathan Smith, a running back, out to wide receiver. Unfortunately, he comes back.
Mike Levenseller, the offensive coordinator, putting in a few new wrinkles for the Washington State offense.
Illegal formation on the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still first down.
So Smith emptied the backfield, but misalignment. Smith, an interesting player, by the way. He transferred from Pasadena City College in California, where he broke the legendary Jackie Robinson's records. In fact, he asked his coach, "Coach, are you sure you want me to break those records?" And coach said, "Yep, you earned it. Go ahead." And it was quite a moment for him. Here's Smith on the handoff, a delayed handoff, and another good gain as a helmet goes flying off the head of Vontez Duff. Garen Bible made the tackle.
Well, Tom, kind of a homecoming of sorts for Bill Dolba. Was born and grew up here in South Bend. Not very far, about 8 miles, he said, right here from Notre Dame Stadium. Coached at Goshen and then Angola, Goshen, and Mishawaka, where he won a state championship. Then moved on to the collegiate ranks. 41 years as an assistant coach, did his first head coaching job in college.
So when he walked in for the practice yesterday here at Notre Dame Stadium, he said to himself, "I just can't believe it." He had first come to a game here as a 6 or 7-year-old when his uncle brought him and sat him right on the 50-yard line. Near interception by Jason Beckstrom, intended for Darling.
I'll tell you, one thing, when you roll your quarterback, I think you want to roll away from the rush of Justin Tuck. They rolled to Justin Tuck because he switched from right end to left end. He played left end, and then they rolled right to him. He put too much pressure on Matt Kegel. One of those guys, I think, key for the Irish this year, and Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator. Justin Tuck, 10 tackles for loss a year ago, 5 sacks, and he's going to play every down this year, though, different than a year ago, but capable of 10 or a 12-sack season. Right down here again.
3rd and 6, 4 wide receiver formation for the Cougars. Kegel, short drop, pressure, he got it away, and looks like a great catch by Scott Lundy with Quentin Burrell all over him, close to the first down. Looks like it could be enough, and it is.
The quarterbacks who can throw it in tight spaces are what you're really looking for, and this was a tight space right here. Good coverage there by Burrell. But you know, Kegel throws it away to the right shoulder, and actually Lundy does a great job of using his body.
Right, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. But he threw it to the right shoulder of the receiver, away from the defensive back, so a great throw and a real good feel by Scott Lundy.
Kegel hitting 50% so far, another 4-wide formation. Washington State doing a good job mixing pass and run on this possession. Swing pass to Smith. Jonathan Smith banged down hard, short of the 35-yard line by Brandon Hoyt and Jason Beckstrom. And one of the Irish a little slow getting up. It's Beckstrom.
I'm not sure, you know, you can simulate those things in practice, those kind of hits.
Or the speed, speed and the hits.
And I think Washington State has somewhat of an advantage having already played a game. They blanked, as you mentioned, Idaho 25-0 last week, and this is Notre Dame's opening game. It's really hard to I think to manufacture a real pass rush, manufacture special teams.
See some other scores going by on this second full week of the college football season. The Irish opening up this week. Washington State played at Seahawks Stadium in Seattle, beating Idaho a week ago. Here's Kegel.
A nice throw out in front of Smith. There's the collision. Again, and then they use those short passes really like runs. And Jonathan Smith, Jermaine Green, and Chris Bruin, whom we'll see later on, all capable of breaking a lot of tackles.
Beckstrom leaves the game. 2nd down and 4. Kegel with a handoff to Smith. Breaks to the outside. Uses his blocker, and Smith has a first down. Caught from behind by Brandon Hoyt. It's a gain of 13 and a Cougar first down as their drive continues.
And Troy Benjamin, the tight end, number 81 for the Cougars, really set that up. I mean, he kind of sealed the corner so Smith could get outside right in here. He just kind of collapses the inside. A good block by the wide receiver. and that picks up the first down. Good vision by Smith, but it started by the block of the tight end, Troy Benjamin.
That was Chris Jordan right there on the right of your screen, giving him a good block downfield, too.
Well, that is key. If your wide receivers can block, those short gains become, 15, 20-yard gains, sometimes touchdowns.
From the 22-yard line, a handoff to Smith, and Smith to the 15-yard line. Glenn Earl saved the touchdown. Go in depth on the Fighting Irish at NBCSports.com. Click on the special section, Notre Dame Central, to see Pat's early nominees for Irish MVP. And I'll take a look at which Irish player might prove the biggest surprise this season. That's all at NBCSports.com.
Well, fill me in. Whom do you think?
Well, I picked Garen Bible.
Okay.
Who,
appropriate name for Notre Dame.
All right, who had a couple of starts last year and is coming on as safety. And almost took Quentin Burrell, who's had a fantastic spring practice and camp. Second down and 3. Kegel going for the touchdown and has it. Sammy Moore with a Washington State score in front of Dwight Ellick. Ellick replacing Beckstrom, and they picked on him for the score.
Terrific play calling and terrific execution.
15 yards on the touchdown pass from Kegel, as Doba and Levenseller, his offensive coordinator, had a beautifully conceived drive, mixing run and pass.
If there's any doubt about Matt Kegel's arm strength, it's certainly answered there. That was one of those old frozen ropes. Perfect.
Drew Dunning with the extra point. Off the upright and no good. So Dunning, who set a Washington State record with 113 points last season.
It was a perfect call because Ellick, number 24, had him straight up. Really wasn't taking away the inside. Good scouting of that, and then a perfect throw by Kegel to his very tall receiver, Sammy Moore. Touchdown, Cougars.
But Dunning misses the point after. So in the first quarter, Washington State has the lead, but it's only 6-0. Notre Dame is a football program filled with tradition, and one of my favorite traditions is before the game, the Notre Dame band lines up and plays the opponent's fight song. Here they are playing the Washington State fight song before the game this afternoon.
Pretty classy, isn't it?
It is indeed. They do it before every home game, no matter the opponent. So, Matt Kegel engineers the drive, 6-0 Cougar lead, and the kickoff with Julius Jones and Rima McKnight deep. The kick picked up by Julius Jones, and his return to the Irish fold. And he broke a tackle and advanced to the 26-yard line. 19-yard return by Julius Jones. Off the kickoff by Sidarius. Joel Crawford made the special teams tackle.
I watched the Notre Dame band practice yesterday, and they get in opening day shape too. The football team does 2-a-days. The band, they practice 3 times a day to get ready for the season. Piccolo section there was exceptionally working hard yesterday. They were tough. You mentioned Julius Jones. They're hoping for some big plays from Julius Jones upon his return, but Ryan Grant is the guy returning with the 1,000-yard season. And the 7th Irish player to do that.
They come with 3 wide receivers here. Jenkins, McKnight, and Stovall. Grant the lone setback. Carlisle Holiday hands to Ryan Grant with a cutback. Couldn't get away. It's Will Dirting, who's off to a great start for the Washington State defense, that makes the tackle. He was tied for the lead in tackles last season for the Cougars and was Pac-10 all-freshman a season ago.
Really kind of a remarkable guy. A very, very small town. He grew up in a ranch in central Washington. So remote they don't have telephone service. And when he was being recruited by Washington State, he had to go to his aunt's house to answer the coach's call.
That was a pretty good drive, too, from Okanagan, Washington. About a 40-minute drive to get to his uncle's house to answer the phone.
Good timing.
Pass complete to Jared Clark, one of the tight ends, but the game very short. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Virgil Williams, the strong safety, all over Jared Clark.
Virgil Williams opened the season with 2 interceptions. We talked to Rob Akey, the defensive coordinator, this week, and he said about Virgil Williams, there's Rob. This guy's a hitting son of a gun. Really good, strong safety, number 24. Started his career as a corner, so he's got good cover ability. But boy, can he tackle.
Here's a 3rd down and 9. 3 wide receivers, Stovall, McKnight, Jenkins. Grant, the running back. Carlisle Holiday under pressure, ball free, and into the hands of a Cougar. It's Virgil Williams, and a big turnover. Virgil Williams knocked it free.
I believe it was Archulano, number 17, who picked it up. I believe it was Archulano.
Didi Archulano, after the hit, knocked the ball right into his hands.
I tell you, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator for Washington State calling a great game. But that's one I think that Carlisle has to feel. Carlisle Holiday has to feel that blitz and get rid of it, because it's coming from his right side. But boy, Virgil Williams gets there. That's number one. But number two, he strips the ball. And you have a very happy defensive coordinator, Rob Aiken, and head coach.
And Bill Doba, who appreciates good defense. Didi Archulano, after the hit by Virgil Williams, turnover, and the Cougars have the ball at the Irish 12, already leading by 6, and a timeout taken by Washington State, their first. Matt Kegel and the Cougars trying to take advantage of the turnover and add to their lead. With just over 6 minutes to play in the opening quarter, the Cougars lead the Irish 6-0 and threatening to add more.
Nothing and knocking on the door again, but let's go back to the turnover a moment ago and watch what happened as the strong safety, Virgil Williams, comes off the corner.
Show you in a minute. Right now, the Cougars lined up ready to go, and they've averaged nearly 9 yards a play so far to -1.5 for Notre Dame. And on the slant, Kegel finds Jordan for the completion. Cedric Hilliard with a tackle in the middle of the field.
Let's go back to that. It started right here, but there's a mix-up in the blocking right there between the tackle and the tight end. Two of them block the defensive end, and they leave Virgil Williams free. Perfect sack. The ball pops up, and Didi Archulano, number 17, the ball comes right into his chest.
Inexperienced offensive line, mix-up in blocking assignments. Second down and 3 for the Cougars. There's a tough hit right at the line of scrimmage by Glenn Earl.
You're right. When Glenn Earl, number 19, hits you, you generally go down. Big season last year. I think one of the best tacklers in all of college football. Had 81 last year, 51 of those solo tackles. Very few yards after contact when Glenn Earl hits you.
Look at the total yard disparity. And here's a third down. 3rd and 3 for the Cougars.
They have 4 tight ends in right now.
And Kegel rolls, delivers, incomplete. The throw was low, intended for Cody Boyd, the tight end. Garen Bible defending for the Irish. And it's going to be 4th down.
And Jerome Collins, number 48, put a little pressure on him. See, didn't really let him fully extend. But he was open.
He was open.
And but give the credit there to Jerome Collins. If he didn't get in the face of the quarterback, that's another touch.
So Drew Dunning, who kicked 4 field goals against Idaho, but missed an extra point earlier, lined up to attempt a 20-yard field goal. And it is up and through. So Dunning redeems himself after missing an extra point. He boots the field goal. The fumble by the Irish results in 3 points for the Cougars. Washington State leads Notre Dame 9-0. Back at Notre Dame Stadium, where a few moments ago, Jason Beckstrom, starting cornerback for the Irish, was led from the field to the locker room, shaken up earlier. So one of the defensive backs out of action for the Irish. Vontez Duff and Julius Jones are the deep men for the kickoff. Graham Sidarius.
That's 2 squibs.
That's 2 squibs off the leg of Julius Jones. And he wrapped up at the 20-yard line. Actually, I think it was Dunning that kicked off instead of Sidarius, their normal kicker.
But, the respect they have, Washington State has for Julius Jones and Vontez Duff as kick returners. We've seen 2 kicks and 2 squibs. And that's why. Second in school history in kickoff returns. Missed all of last year in academic exile.
Dismissed from the school, from the university for academic reasons. Went to Phoenix and spent time with his brother Tommy, who is now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was with the Arizona Cardinals. Took some courses at Arizona State, got himself eligible again, and comes back Much stronger, they say. Could be big. Here he is with a carry. His first from scrimmage. And he turns the corner and breaks the tackle for a gain of 8 on first down. Billy Palmer, the tight end, leading the interference. And welcome back, Julius Jones.
Well, the Irish desperately need a spark, and somebody provided. And thus far, they haven't been able to get anything out of their passing game, and perhaps Julius Jones is that guy. Led the team in rushing in 2000 and 2001, but surprisingly, Tom, he didn't have a lot of long runs during his 2 years as a running back here. His reputation as a big player really came, I think, in the return game.
Did get 8 on his first carry from scrimmage. 2 tight ends, Palmer and Clark on 2nd and 2. Holiday swings complete. It's to Jenkins, and Omar Jenkins has a first down. He's to the 37-yard line, where he's tackled by Al Genatone, the outside linebacker.
Nice adjustment there by Omar Jenkins. Then look at the running back comparison. Ryan Grant in 2 seasons rushed for over nearly 1,200 yards. But look at the 19-yard plus runs, 8 from Ryan Grant. In 1 season more, Julius only has 4 of those. So I think the reputation really is on his kickoff returns and punt returns, where he's been very dangerous.
First down Irish, and seeing his first action, freshman Shimadoom Ndukwe, number 81, freshman from Powell, Ohio. Jones dodged the man at the line of scrimmage, broke the tackle, but lost the football. Another turnover. Williams, the man again. He forced the fumble earlier. He and David combining for the turnover here.
You know, last year, we saw Notre Dame lived by forcing turnovers. In their first 8 games, when they went 8-0, they forced 24 turnovers. That's how they won. Right now, in the opening half of the 2003 season, they've coughed it up twice. Again, just stripped.
Jason David rips it free, and Virgil Williams picks it up in the air. Another fumble. Look at that. David just did an excellent job of stripping the football.
Yeah. And again, one of those things I think it's hard to simulate full speed in practice is the stripping that guys do out there of the ball.
So once again, Washington State presented a golden opportunity. Just over 3.5 minutes to go first quarter. 9-0 Cougars, and Kegel going for the end zone. He has a man. Darling couldn't hold on.
Oh, right through his hands. A little underthrown. Should have been a touch.
Dwight Ellick might have gotten a fingernail on it, Pat. I'm not sure. And is that Vontez Duff shaking up? No, it's not. It's Ellick. 24. Not
Boy, he came in for Jason Beckstrom. But look how open he is. If the ball is thrown out in front of him, he doesn't have to go down low. Still very catchable.
Yeah,
Still very catchable.
Nobody touched it as both Ellick and Duff went flying by.
Boy, I tell you, DeVar Darling, who caught 11 touchdowns a year ago, has been open in this game. Opening play of the game could have been a touchdown. That certainly could have been a touchdown.
And DeVar Darling, those that follow college football may know his story. His twin brother, Devon, died during an off-season workout when both were at Florida State. They were born identical twins in the Bahamas, and by all accounts were as identical as you can get. Almost with one heartbeat, they were so close. And their mom left her husband, moved to Houston, Texas, where they grew up. They were known for their academics, for their athletics. They were all-around super role models for their age group. They went to Florida State, and during that off-season workout, Devon had the problem, passed away. They both have the sickle cell tendency, but they're not sure exactly why Devon passed away. But it was, you might imagine, traumatic to his twin brother, who has sort of been searching for his identity in the absence of his twin since then. He wanted to come back to Florida State, but they wouldn't let him play. He went to several places, Texas A&M, Tennessee, with the promise of maybe he could play, not clear to the medical staff. Finally, after much waiting, was cleared here at Washington State, and is back in the lineup after waiting a long time, sitting out a year. Is back and has a world of potential and has a special relationship, I think, Pat, with his offensive coordinator, Mike Levenseller.
Yeah, Mike Levenseller was saying that he openly talks to Darling about losing his brother because Mike Levenseller lost a child a number of years ago, so it could absolutely relate. So they had a lot of long conversations in his office.
Freddie Parrish Jr., a true freshman, sees his first appearance in the Irish lineup, replacing Ellick, the injured player. Here's Jermaine Smith with a stiff arm, got free for a moment, then hit hard by Derek Curry.
Jonathan Smith on the carry.
So the Irish defensive secondary making 2 injuries at cornerback and forcing Freddie Parrish Jr., freshman from Redondo Beach, California, into the lineup, and normally a safety/cornerback playing at crucial corner position.
Freddie Parrish out of Long Beach Poly High in Southern California. Tyrone Willingham, when he was at Stanford, had a lot of success of recruiting great athletes out of that high school. And Freddie Parrish, they believe, can be one of them.
Quentin Burrell into the secondary now for the Irish as they come with 6 defensive backs on 3rd down and long. And the Irish, perhaps with a mix-up with all the injuries and trying to get their personnel correct, are forced to spend a timeout. That's their first timeout.
Well, one of the problems is Courtney Watson, who you mentioned is not playing, generally is their signal caller. He gets everybody lined up. So you've got new guys. There's Courtney Watson, number 33, there in the middle of the screens. We do not know, the university's not releasing the reason he is not playing. Coach Willingham's going to address it after the game, but he's not playing. Their starting middle linebacker, Mike Goolsby, number 41 right there, he is also not playing. And Cedric Hilliard was injured, so they thought they were returning 8 defensive starters that played pretty well last year, but Tyrone Willingham really has 5 of those guys available today.
And their defense has been put in a tough position during this first quarter by the offense turnovers, and the offensive unit does not show much improvement over last year, and turnovers were so important to the Irish success last year.
Well, they really were. But that's one that the quarterback just has got to be able to feel. And ball security.
And now the turnovers hurting the Irish in the first quarter of the 2003 season.
Bill Dietrich, the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, talked to us yesterday. Just, you can't beat yourself early with penalties and turnovers, and that's what's happened. And this, I think, is a critical series for the Notre Dame defense. Don't want to go down by 3 scores, but this is an offense that can change the pace time. They can power it, or they can throw it all over the field.
3rd and 6, Washington State. Matt Kegel across the middle for his tight end, and Cody Boyd with a reception down to the Irish 5.
Boy, did he get drilled. But Cody Boyd, we talked about him earlier. This guy is going to be a great player in the Pac-10 and in college football. Only a freshman.
26 yards from Ferndale High School, Bellingham, Washington, an all-stater, and also a basketball player who wants to play on the Cougar basketball team.
And look, he is awfully well covered and still finds a way to adjust to get to the ball. I mean, he's a guy that can play. He actually played some wide receiver last week. Tight end, wide receiver, blocks field goals.
Basketball.
Yeah, pretty good athlete.
Benjamin and Boyd, 2 tight ends as they hand the ball to Jonathan Smith. And Smith gets a tough yard. Stopped by the center of the Notre Dame defense with Brandon Hoyt first to hit him.
That Kegel is spreading it around, and he's using the tight ends, backs. If my math is correct, that's 60% completion percentage.
Very good for a USC graduate.
Thank you. Thank you.
6 different receivers he's hit, hitting those 6 of 10, 100 yards.
7 last week, used 7 different receivers. 2 good tight ends in here right now. These 2 guys, good receivers and blockers.
2nd down and goal from the 5. Kegel, short drop, lays it up there, but a penalty and a flag will stop that one. Boyd was the man at 6'8", awaiting the little toss on the fade by Kegel. Looks like it's going to be against the Cougars. False start, illegal procedure, 5-yard step off against Washington State.
For the snap, full start, offense. 5 yards to the previous spot, still 2nd down.
Let's check with Lewis Johnson.
Tom, while the Notre Dame defense tries to hold their ground, their cornerback, Dwight Ellick, who's the most recent to leave the field with a problem. Doctors were looking at his lower leg. I've been told that he's still available. But again, the other cornerback, number 9, Jason Beckstrom, who's gone to the locker room, he is still questionable. We'll know more about that probably after halftime. Tom?
All right, Lewis. Meanwhile, it's 2nd and goal. Now the ball just short of the Irish 10-yard line. 9-0 Washington State with 90 seconds to go first quarter. Kegel handing to Smith. Smith hit and dropped for a loss on the play by Preston Jackson, the corner who came up in a hurry.
Yeah, and 2 good plays in a row by Brandon Hoyt, number 39, the linebacker. And Kent Berry, he's a little concerned with the way this game has gone thus far.
Rightfully so.
Brandon Hoyt, number 39, filling in at the position that Courtney Watson played. Calling the plays. Ordinarily, again, that's Watson. There was some confusion a few plays ago.
Another huge 3rd down here, Pat. 3rd and goal from just beyond the 10-yard line.
And now Tuck is up here. So Tuck is switching from left end to right end.
Two tight ends. Play action fake. Kegel rolls to his right. Stop, start, pushed out of bounds. It was Buttenzak that was tracking him the whole way. Kyle Buttenzak had dead aim on Kegel and forced him out of bounds, setting up another fourth down.
Well, two good red zone defensive series by the Irish. After the Irish turned it over on offense, Kent Bear's defense did their job, forcing field goal attempts. Theo Buttenzak did not get fooled up here on the fake.
And 29-yard field goal attempt by Drew Dunning, who hit one earlier and is 5 for 5 on the season. Dunning's kick. It wasn't pretty, but it went through. Sort of a knuckleball, line drive through the uprights, and Dunning is...
They're always pretty when they go through.
Yes, they are. Always pretty when they're good. 6 for 6 on the season is Dunning, and his Cougars lead by 12. And shocked the Irish faithful. First ever meeting between the two teams, and that green might be from the feeling that Notre Dame fans have this first quarter. They've seen the Cougars dominate and lead 12-0. It could be worse.
I think those guys will be here in November like that. Probably so.
Graham Sidarius will kick off for Washington State.
We've seen two squibs thus far out of Washington State, which has worked out well for them. Take away the big play return of Vontez Duff and Julius Jones. Another one.
On the hop to Duff. Duff has a little seam and then caught by the shoe tops at the 30-yard line by Scott Davis. Made a big tackle on special teams. Whoopi Goldberg, edgy, irreverent, and unpredictable. And this fall she comes to NBC with a brand new series, Whoopi. New comedy, no apologies. The premiere of Whoopi is this Tuesday, 8/7 Central on NBC.
Well, the Irish right now, Tom, they don't need a big touchdown throw. I think they need a drive. They need to pick up a few first downs and gain some confidence. Because right now it does not look like they have a lot of confidence. And Washington State's defense is stuffing them.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Irish have been backed up and have run 9 plays for a total of 10 yards so far. Here's the handoff to Ryan Grant, and Grant across the 35-yard line got 6 yards on first down. Virgil Williams has been a busy man for the Cougar secondary with the stop of Ryan Grant as we come to the 10-second mark here in the first quarter.
You know, he had a great start to the year. 8 touchdown runs and 106 yards in those first 8 games, but the last 5 games he battled all kinds of injuries and just wasn't nearly as productive, just got tired. And I think the relief that Julius Jones can provide him is going to help him have another big season.
And that'll bring the first quarter to a close. The Irish stunned in the first quarter of their season's opener. An opportunistic Washington State defense putting Notre Dame in big trouble. They trail 12-0. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium right after these messages from your local NBC station. On NBC, the Fighting Irish in their first game of the season, trailing Washington State 12-0. Jeff Samarzu and Josh Schmidt, a couple of new players in the backfield for the Irish, as Ryan Grant fights his way forward close to a first down. Virgil Williams makes the tackle for Washington State. Total domination here by Washington State in the first quarter of play.
And no surprise the stats look like that with Washington State leading 12-0. But it's the turnovers. I mean, the most critical factor in any football game is turnovers. And Notre Dame lived by them a year ago, and they've given up 2 in this first half already.
Saw the ball advanced to the first down line. Officially a measurement here. And as we suspected, it is good for a first down.
I didn't suspect. I really thought it was. We talked about the turnovers that Notre Dame lived by a year ago. It was just amazing. In the first 8 games, when they went 8-0, they forced 24 turnovers and scored 95 points off those. And in the last 5 games, they went 2-3, only forced 9, and that was really the difference between a bowl championship series game and a different game for them.
So after only their second first down of the game, the Irish send Omar Jenkins in motion. Carlisle Holiday completes the pass in the flat to Schmidt, and Jason Schmidt with the reception, tackled by Will Dirting and Carl Pema. A gain of 8 yards for Schmidt, the walk-on. He was playing for a dorm football team here at Notre Dame. One of the rectors of the dorm called his name to the attention of the Notre Dame coaches. He walked on, and here he is getting playing time at Notre Dame Stadium.
It's one of those great walk-on stories that Notre Dame seems to have every year. Courtney Watson said to us yesterday, I watched him outside my dorm window, and he'd be running up and down in the dorm games. They play tackle football. Every dorm has a tackle football team.
He got 8 yards on that pass from Holiday, 2nd and 2. Holiday, short drop, sidearms, complete to Jenkins. Omar Jenkins has a first down. Stovall. Genatone and Pema, the Washington State tackle, but it is a passing first down for Notre Dame.
What I like about Al Genatone, number 48 for Washington State, one of their outside linebackers. He's one of their captains. He's a coach's son, and he didn't grow up as a quarterback. When was the last time you had a coach's son who didn't play quarterback in Little League? Have you ever seen Little League, a coach's son play right field? It's always the pitcher, but he's a linebacker and a pretty doggone good one. Great special teams player as well.
He's also a top wrestler in the state of Washington from Kennewick. First down, Irish. Ryan Grant stopped at the line of scrimmage. Genatone again had a piece of it.
It's funny, you look at this Washington State defense, and if you're a coach, you look at the roster and you look at the size of the defensive ends in particular. Isaac Brown, number 9, is 229 pounds. And you look at D.D. Archulano, number 17, he's only 245. You say, geez, we can really run the ball on these guys. But they are so quick off the ball.
We asked Jim Molinaro how he would adjust his technique against the quick but small defensive ends of Washington State, and said you just drop a little further back than you normally would.
They get pretty wide here.
From the shotgun, pressure on Holiday, he got rid of it. And the catch made by Omar Jenkins to the 40-yard line, where Genatone makes another tackle with help from Will Dirting, who was putting the pressure on Carlisle Holiday.
Well, what we've seen from Washington State is a pretty good tackling team in this first half. Good design, nice catch, but once they hit you, you go down. Very few yards after the catch.
Holiday did well to get rid of that one.
Remember, Carl Holiday, the last 2 years, he's missed a couple of games each year because he took a pounding. 38 sacks a year ago.
Looking for their first third down conversion. It's 3rd and 4. Trip receivers, bottom of your screen, right of the formation. Holiday got a lane to run. Dives forward, and he will be short of the first down, covered by Don Jackson, the middle linebacker.
Boy, these Cougars are quick. And it looked like he was easily going to run for the 4 yards, didn't it?
It looked like he had a huge lane to easily pick up the first down, and all of a sudden, the pursuit of the Cougars was all over it. So 4th down and a yard. And the Irish will go for it on 4th down. They come with Rashawn Powers-Neal, their fullback, with Palmer and Clark, 2 tight ends.
And Ryan Grant last year was a very good short yardage runner.
Grant, the tailback in the eye, but with the clock ticking down, the play clock, Carlisle Holiday calls for a timeout, and you see Coach Willingham saying, "That's my fault," as he taps his chest. Maybe the call came in late. Irish spend their second timeout. Big 4th down coming up when we return. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Lexus and the new, more powerful ES330. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? And by Adidas Soccer. Own it, and you own the game. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium. Irish season opener against Washington State. Cougars shutting out Notre Dame 12-0 here in the second quarter, with 11:12 showing on the clock, and the Irish facing a 4th and 1.
And Washington State has made good calls and played well defensively and offensively.
Best possession yet for the Irish. Tyrone Willingham going for it on 4th and a yard at the 36-yard line of the Cougars. Grant is the tailback in the eye. Here's the hand to Grant. Picks his way forward and is stopped by Achalanu. Short of the first down. Big defensive play by Washington State. Irish try to run for it. Here is a flag that comes down. And should it be a celebration penalty against the Cougars? That would be disastrous. Let's see.
Well, these defensive ends, you'd think of them as just pass rushers, but Achalanu had a fumble recovery, then a big stuff on fourth down.
Dead ball, personal foul. Notre Dame, 15 yards, first down.
So Achalanu makes the play for the defense. He had a fumble recovery earlier for Washington State, and here's the play.
He's number 17 in the right part of your screen, right down here. It just kind of fights off the block of the tight end, Jared Clark, and makes the stop. This is a guy who led the Pac-10 in sacks a year ago. Go ahead. Right down here. They can just kind of fight through traffic as a good defensive end, or linebackers do. But he had led the Pac-10 in sacks as a sophomore, 16 career sacks, but as you can see, plays pretty good short yardage defense as well.
Dwight Ellick, shaken up earlier, has returned for the Irish secondary. Hand off to Jermaine Green. And Green stacked up after a couple of yards. We had that penalty, personal foul against the Irish after the play. Here's what happened.
We called it on 65, Sean Milligan, I think. Didn't look like much of a penalty to me, to be perfectly honest.
But it cost the Irish 15 yards, and once again, the defense called to save the day for the Irish.
Well, all the things that you worry about in opening games, turnovers and penalties, that's what's happened to the Irish.
And the Cougars have played in Notre Dame territory most of the game. 10.5 minutes to go, second quarter. 4 wide receivers. Kegel, short drop through it behind Lundy, who went backwards to make the catch. Nice catch by Scott Lundy, the senior from Vancouver, Washington, the former walk-on, as we go down to Lewis.
Washington State is missing a wide receiver, number 88, Trandon Harvey. He has been on the bench for the last several minutes with an ice bag attached to his lower inside leg. Trainers told me that he either has an ankle sprain or a lower leg injury. What they've decided is leave him here. They'll reevaluate him at the half, and then we'll know after the half as to whether or not he'll be back. Trandon Harvey, Tom.
All right, and replacing Harvey is Lundy, who just made that nice catch. Setting up a third down and 3. Kegel's hit 7 of 11. And here he calls a timeout. Play clock was down to 1, and Kegel calls time for the Cougars. Third down, short yardage situation for the Cougs at Notre Dame Stadium. 12-0, Wazoo.
Well, that is Sherry and Greg Kegel, parents of the quarterback, Matt Kegel. Sherry looks a little concerned on this third down play.
But Matt was happy since it's 12-0 Cougars. Third down and 3. Fake, play action. Kegel's pass wide open to Boyd. Threw it behind him, and Boyd dropped it.
Oh, boy. If he gets it out in front of them, Boyd is still running. We've talked about Cody Boyd, the kind of athlete he is. He's a big, tall guy, and the father knows his son just threw one of his poor passes today. He's been throwing the ball perfectly. Look how open it is. Everybody's going the other direction. He catches that. He's going across the green. He at least picks up 30 yards.
That's the same kind of pass he threw to Scott Lundy a minute ago, and Lundy turned around to make the catch, but Boyd could not. So fourth down, and Vontez Duff awaits the punt from Bosler. And it'll hit right at the goal line and takes a Washington State bounce. Wow, looked like it was the cinch to go into the end zone for a touchback. Instead, he had the English on it. It came right back to the Cougars, who down it deep in Notre Dame territory. A beautiful 38-yard Bosler punt.
I thought that actually ball hit in the end zone and came back.
Yeah, I thought it hit right.
Did you? Okay, well, I'm sure
line.
we'll have
Let's take a look at it. Well, that's after after the bounce.
Yeah, well.
In any event, it will go into the books at the 3-yard line of the Irish, who already trail 12-0.
The punt right in the middle of that lousy circle, oblong shaped line, is the ball.
That was a circle?
And it really is too close to call whether that hits the white line or not. Nonetheless, the Irish are backed up again.
From their own 3-yard line. And there's going to be half the distance as Bob Morton came charging across. That'll be back to the 1.5-yard line now.
Full start, offense. Half the distance to go from the previous spot. Still first down.
Bob Morton, number 76, I think is one of those swing guys and important guys in the offensive line for the Irish, because he started the game at center. Now, as you saw, he's playing guard. And if Milligan gets hurt or can't play, he shifts to guard. If one of the tackles goes down, he moves to guard. They move one of the existing guards out to tackle. So they move him around, and he's a very versatile guy in their offensive line.
Zach Giles is in at center. Handoff is to Powers-Neal. Rashawn Powers-Neal, the fullback, his first carry. Got close to the 5-yard line.
Well, this Washington State defense has been sensational in the first half. Chasing after quarterbacks. Holiday has had not great defensive play in the backfield. And then causing turnovers. 2 of them in this first half, and then a stop on 4th down. And they played well offensively, defensively, and we saw a great special teams play, and that's Rob Akey, the defensive coordinator. The new defensive coordinator succeeding Bill Doba, who was the defensive coordinator there the last 8 years under Mike Price.
Notre Dame averaging just over 2.5 yards of play. Holiday fumbles the snap and falls on it as the Irish offensive woes continue. But it's more than just first game rustiness, too.
Well, I can see a complete difference between which team played a game.
And remember, Zach Giles now in at center, and the center quarterback exchange. Holiday fumbled it. Holiday fumbled earlier when hit trying to pass. Resulted in a field goal for the Cougars.
He did the right thing and covered it. But I think one thing that the Irish are going to have to do, maybe this is a situation, is let Carlisle Holiday run the ball on a quarterback draw. Didn't see it a lot out of last year out of Holiday, but that's what he does particularly well.
3rd down and 10. Play action fake. Achelanu was all over him. He did manage to get it to Powers-Neal, but it will be well short of the first down. Will Durting getting Powers-Neal out of the backfield as Achelanu put the pressure again on Carlisle Holiday. He's having a great game.
He really is. And the combination of the pressure and the coverage is really giving Notre Dame some problems. And Washington State, once again, should get very good field position.
Nicholas Setta will punt from the back of his own end zone. He boomed 154 yards his first time. Sammy Moore, the deep man for Washington State. This one to Moore at the 45-yard line. Dancing. Can't get free. Good coverage for the Notre Dame special teams. 38-yard punt, 2 yards on the return. Well, next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, NBC takes you ringside, the NBC Boxing Series. This will feature one of boxing's brightest stars, 2000 Olympic silver medalist Rocky Juarez, whose crippling body blows have already sparked 13 knockouts, a perfect 17-0 record. The NBC Boxing Series next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific on NBC.
I love guys with body blows.
Give me a few during the game.
Yeah, you deserve them.
When I talk a bit long, sure to get a kidney punch from you.
Notre Dame needs to create a turnover right now.
Once again, Washington State begins in Irish territory. Kegel hit as he tried to pass. It's ruled a fumble. Justin Tuck, the sack specialist, was all over Matt Kegel, and Cedric Hilliard recovers for the Irish.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Irish. And again, Justin Tuck gets his first of the year at a critical time in this opening game for the Irish. And they've been moving Justin Tuck around from left end to right end. Kind of moving him around. This time he comes right off the corner. People doesn't even see him, much like the play that Holiday lost the ball. And then a hustling Darrell Campbell picks the ball up.
Well, what about the similarities to last season when the offense sputters and the defense says, you know, we're going to have to take over this game?
Well, and now it's time for the offense to do something. They've got great field position. It's a great time to get something out of their passing game.
Only the second time today Notre Dame has been in Washington State territory. Holiday's hit his last 6 in a row, but for just 31 yards. Number 7 got a man open down the sideline, and the catch is made, and then Stovall lost it. It'll be ruled incomplete. Incomplete. He could not hold on. Once again, the ball hung up, enabling David and Coleman to hit Stovall hard and knock the ball loose.
You know, it's that cover 2 thing where the corner's up, the safety's back. If he drills this a little bit more right now, with a little steam on it, it's a catch. But he allows the safety to come over, and that is number 27, Eric Coleman, knocks it out of the possession of the receiver, Maurice Stovall. And these safeties have played well. Eric Coleman and Virgil Williams for the Cougars.
Stovall was open, though, but Holiday hung it up too high, and the defense able to recover, setting up 2nd and 10. Stovall has 1 catch so far. Does not hold on there. Short drop, Holiday. Get a sidearm toss and complete. Stovall again wrestled out of bounds after a gain of about 6 yards at the 35-yard line by Don Jackson and Carl Payma. And Kegel not happy as he talks to his coordinator Levenseller on the sideline.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things a quarterback sometimes just has to feel that rush. And the good ones, they really do, and they get rid of the ball. And we've seen both quarterbacks not be able to feel that rush and get out of the way. Tough play, but it comes with the position.
And after the fumble recovery, Notre Dame trying to get some points. They have not converted a 3rd down yet. Palmer and Clark, 2 tight ends in this formation. Carlisle Holiday, 3rd down, roll, delivers, wide open, pass caught by Jenkins. And Omar Jenkins knocked out of bounds by Payma after an Irish 1st down.
Omar Jenkins.
It's dependable, huh?
Absolutely. And sometimes you say dependable and then you say, well, that's coach for not being very fast. But he averaged 17 yards a catch last year. A good catch, and then he breaks the tackle to pick up the 1st down. One of those guys, the coaches say, you ask him to block, he'll block. You ask him to run over the middle, catch the ball, he'll do that. You ask him to play special teams, he'll be a great special teams player.
1st down for the Irish, 30-yard line. Holiday's at 8 of 10, but just for 41 yards. And off is to Grant, and Grant stopped in his tracks, fell forward for a yard or 2. Ty Tupai on the tackle, his 1st of the day for the Cougars.
Tyrone Willingham, after that, seemingly everything went right for those guys, for the Irish a year ago, and that magical 8-0 start. Off to a slow start now, but he has an opportunity to get something going here offensively. His quarterback seems to be in a little bit better rhythm throwing the ball.
Inside 7 minutes, 1st half, and a 12-0 Washington State lead.
Washington State, I just look at Ryan Grant's numbers, has been tough to run against for over a decade. It's not just today. They have really been tough to run against.
Holiday fumbles the snap, picks it up on the bounce, and gets to the corner. There's a flag down as Holiday dives close to the 1st down, covered by Eric Coleman. Another fumbled snap, but Holiday made something out of it. Let's see if it'll hold up on the penalty.
I think they switched back to Bob Morton at center, but it still was a fumbled snap.
And a hold against the Irish will nullify the run by Carlisle Holiday.
It really looks like an open game.
Holding, offense, 10 yards, previous spot, still 2nd down.
Look over here, I believe it's the guilty party on Isaac Brown. Those guys are so quick, I don't blame them terribly. And that's a play, I think, where Carlisle Holiday should get out of bounds and avoid. It wasn't a big hit there, but could have been.
The Irish get Marcus Wilson in at running back. Wilson, 5'11", 198, a junior from Staten Island, New York, his 1st appearance.
And their best receiver out of the backfield. He could really play a role for the Irish as a receiver right out of that tailback position.
4 fumbles in the 1st half. 2nd down and 19. And the handoff to Wilson, who got a yard.
Will Dirting again, 51. What a 1st half he's had.
Dirting said earlier that he was tied for the tackle lead a season ago. That was not correct. Tied for the tackle lead now. Last season, he played 8 games, had 5 starts. He had 5 games on the sideline with an ankle injury, but was Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Week against Nevada. He had a 98-yard interception for a touchdown against Nevada. Had 3 interceptions on the afternoon.
He was also this year grand champion, beef fitting and showing champion. How about that?
From a cattle ranch in Washington, rural Washington, with no telephone. Here's Holiday scrambling and out of bounds at the 30-yard line. That could be a penalty for a late hit. Hit while out of bounds, but no flag.
Well, there usually is when it's a quarterback in the opposing team's bench. Surprised the flag was not thrown. And those are, I think it should have been a penalty, and it would have been a stupid one. Nick Setta is going to come out for a Field goal attempt, I believe.
David with a legal hit, and then, I don't know, maybe not. It was almost a continuation. In any event, it's 4th down, and Nicholas Setta is on to attempt the field goal. Fitzpatrick will hold. It's a 47-yard attempt by Setta, who was great to start last season, had a slump mid-season, and finished strongly.
You see Cody Boyd in to block 2 last week.
Well, that was bad looking from the start.
Abysmal.
It's almost like they weren't ready. Reardon, the long snapper, got it back there. Fitzpatrick, the holder, looked like he didn't quite know what to do. Setta booted a dying Quayle, and things are falling apart for the Irish. New way to look at it, replay. One of the few bright spots in the first half for the Irish. Justin Tuck hitting Matt Kegel and forcing the fumble.
And they need a few more of those out of Justin and his teammates.
Tuck, the junior from Kellyton, Alabama, part of our Xerox new way to look at it replay. And Tuck and company back on the field again after the Irish offense comes up empty. First down, Washington State. First down run. It's to Jonathan Smith, caught to the ankles by Brandon Hoyt, and falls forward for maybe a yard. We mentioned that Coach Bill Doba of Washington State was born in South Bend. Played football for New Carlisle High, 1954 to 57. And through the dusty archives, here he is, 1956, number 24, an interception. And look at the return for Doba. After he graduated from Ball State, he returned to the area to coach high school football, even leading Mishawaka to the state championship game in 1974. Matt Kegel hit Sammy Moore on that play, short of the first down, tackled by Ellick. And a homecoming for Bill Doba, who had many members of his family here in attendance today, and they're with Lewis Johnson.
They are all here, Tom. There's his wife, Judy, back there with the camera. She has no idea that I'm up here. 2 of the other children and one of his daughters, Beth, here, who has been watching this all happen this afternoon. It must be big for him, but what is it like for you guys to watch your dad come back after all these years and coach the team?
It's so exciting. I mean, growing up in Mishawaka and having grandparents here growing up, and to be able to come to Notre Dame and knowing what Notre Dame is to football is, to be able to see him run out of the tunnel and lead him on the field is really a thrill.
And I imagine his grandmother, who's not here with us, is also a big thrill for her. Where is she?
My grandma Millie's in Fort Wayne, and she's watching this. And 91? I know she's 91 years old, and if she could be here, one, she'd kill me for just saying that. And 2, she'd be really happy for my dad.
Has he said anything to you guys about how big this day is for him?
No. He's fired up to bring Washington State here and make the fans proud. But if he thought about that, if he could get off focus, probably in about 10 years, he'll talk about it.
All right, thanks. Everybody's having a good time here for their dad and granddad, Tom.
Kegel scrambling, Lewis, as he fires it downfield and just throws it away. Sammy Moore the closest to it, as Dwight Ellick was there, and this would be quite a birthday present for Bill Doba, who celebrates his 63rd birthday on Sunday.
You know, he talked to us yesterday about coming into Notre Dame Stadium as a 5-year-old with his uncle. Actually had a brother that went to Notre Dame, and the family, he said the family couldn't afford to send both of their sons to Notre Dame. He went to Ball State. Mathematics minor there at Ball State. A very successful coach.
Said every time Notre Dame played, his mom got the rosary beads out. So mixed feelings. On 4th down, Bosler to Vontez Duff.
Perfect.
Duff takes it over his shoulder right at the sideline and is wrestled out of bounds after a 49-yard punt by Alex Teams.
Perfect punt. Long, and just pinned him right in the corner and nowhere for Duff to go.
Irish bottled up in all aspects by the Cougars so far today.
Roberts in New York, and coming up on the Lexus Halftime Show, we'll run you through the scores and highlights from college football's top 25. Some upsets and near upsets to tell you about. What a game in Columbus. The defending national champions, a 31-point favorite, but someone apparently forgot to tell San Diego State. We'll also have all the other sports news, all coming up on the Lexus Halftime Show. Right now, let's return to South Bend and rejoin Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, and Lewis Johnson.
Thank you, Jimmy, and an upset could be brewing here as well, as the Notre Dame offense, ineffective to start last season and ineffective to finish last season, takes right up where it left off, unfortunately, for Willingham and crew.
Well, last year they opened the season, they didn't score an offensive touchdown in their first 2 games and didn't score an offensive touchdown in their last 2 games.
They start from their own 14. Holiday chased again and downed again. Virgil Williams, what did no, they say the Cougars did not recover the fumble. Irish retained possession, but once again, all over Carlisle Holiday. Once again, he didn't sense the rush coming from the blind side.
It just has no feel for it right now. You've got to have a feel for that blitz, and I would be looking at Virgil Williams, number 24, to try to get some sort of pre-snap feel, Tom, of whether he's going to blitz or not. Oftentimes the quarterbacks give you a quick look to that strong safety. If he's close to that line of scrimmage, you have to be a little bit more aware of him. He's lucky that it wasn't a fumble.
Yeah.
If he goes lower with that tomahawk chop with the right hand, that ball comes out.
There's 3 sacks, good for minus 33 yards. And it's 2nd and 20 after a 10-yard loss on that one. Actually 2nd and 15. 5-yard loss. Holiday with a flag down, whips it for Jenkins down the field. Fans wanted interference called there, but that was an uncatchable pass.
Good job by the officials.
And a hold against Notre Dame. It's hard to imagine a more dismal first half.
Indeed, in all phases. They're turning the ball over, offensive, I'm talking about. They're turning the ball over. They've got penalties. They've got no sustained drives. They're absolutely lucky to be down 12. I mean, actually,
thanks to a couple of red zone stands by their defense.
And Kent Bear's defense has done a pretty good job because they've been put in an absolute bind.
Holding. Offense. That penalty is refused. Holding. 3rd down.
So Washington State refuses the penalty because Notre Dame already backed up.
Well, you know, Tom, it happened last year, and this year it's happening again. It's early in the season, I understand that, but they can't be a 3rd and 15 kind of team. They need to be, and you see the frustration on Tyrone Willingham's face. They need to be a 3rd and 2 team, a 2nd and 5 team, because they've got nothing going on 1st down. They're really uncomfortable in these down and distance situations. Jared Clark comes in very, very late.
Lines up at tight end, right of the formation.
They didn't have enough guys in there.
Holiday has time, but badly misses. Intended for Maurice Stovall. Ouch.
And there are a few bulls in Notre Dame Stadium. You know, and behind Carlisle Holiday, the number 2 quarterback is a true freshman, Brady Quinn, whom the coaches are very, very high on. And you wonder if they continue to sputter like this, if they give Quinn a shot. The coaches this week told us they're very, very confident of this guy and feels that he can play.
Seta feels it on the bounce, gets it away, short. Moore lets it hop, and it takes a lateral bounce, then a little bit of a Notre Dame roll. It stopped at the 38-yard line.
Heck of a play by Nick Seta.
29 yards on the punt. Well, coming up tomorrow, 3 Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, the AVP Nissan Series concludes. The Aquafina AVP Shootout presented by Bud Light. Some of the best beach volleyball players in the world in Las Vegas. Aquafina AVP Shootout presented by Bud Light tomorrow, 3 Eastern, 12 noon Pacific on NBC.
I bet you didn't play much volleyball.
I could spike with the best
I bet you could. There's Brady Quinn, 18-year-old from Dublin, Ohio. Dublin, that makes sense to go to Notre Dame, I guess. Very, very highly thought of here and recruited heavily.
Play action fake for Matt Kegel. Chased from the pocket. Throws on the run and throws it away.
It's the 2nd year in a row, though, that the Irish have come into a season with no real experience behind Carlisle Holiday. Chris Olsen transferred to Virginia. He was supposed to be the number 2 guy. He transferred. And remember last year they had Pat Dillingham, who hadn't played much, and now they come into this game with Brady Quinn with no college experience. The quarterback changes. Arnaz Battle goes to wide receiver. Gary Gotze switched to tight end. Jared Clark transfers.
Meanwhile, the defense of the Irish forced to take over the game again if they can. The 4th time Washington State has started a drive in Notre Dame territory with 3 minutes left in the half. Average drive starting on the 49 of Notre Dame.
Yeah, that is remarkable.
Short drop. Kegel across the middle, deflected. It was Brandon Hoyt that got a hand on it to deflect the pass, and it'll bring up a third down play for the Cougars.
Well, they're out of field goal range, so Mike Levenseller, the offensive coordinator, is thinking about getting something down the field that gets that first down. The beauty for him, he's got two big tight ends that can go up and catch it. And, of course, DeVar Darling, number 1, whom we've seen make some nice catches for deep, big gains.
There's Darling, number 1. Lined up to the top of the formation. 6 defensive backs for the Irish. Kegel wide open, and the crossing pattern again was Denham in the tight end, but Garen Bible was able to hit him just as the ball got there. It looked like if he laid it in front of him, he could have had the catch. But there is a penalty marker on the play.
These tight ends are, as we said, so athletic.
Should have caught that one, maybe, and maybe give Bible credit for pulling one of his arms off it.
Good make-up speed by Garen Bible.
Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is refused.
That's twice.
4th down.
Second time they've had 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Needs 7, of course.
So once again, Washington State unable to take advantage in a big way of the Notre Dame poor field position, and Bosler with his 4th punt of the day, Vontez Duff.
The last one was perfect. Remember, he pinned him right in the corner.
Bosler. Evan reaches the end zone, batted back. A touchback. And Notre Dame will take over at the 20-yard line. Bosler wanted the pinning him deep again. So with 2:45 left in the first half, Notre Dame starts with a first down from its own 20-yard line. And coming up at intermission, the Lexus Halftime Show. Jimmy Roberts back in our New York studios. All the latest news, scores, and highlights from college football's top 25. That's the Lexus Halftime Show. Coming up in 2 minutes, 45 seconds of playing time.
I wonder what Tyrone Willingham's halftime show is going to be about. Their defense has played okay. It's been a tough special teams and certainly a tough offensive day.
I don't think he'll be discussing the California recall, though. Are you running for governor, by the way?
I haven't declared yet.
Holiday sacked, ball loose, picked up by Washington State, and a touchdown! Isaac Brown. Will Durding knocked it loose, and Isaac Brown scooped it up for the score.
Unbelievable. You just must seal that or protect that side. Rob Akey, the defensive coordinator, has done a sensational job of designing and calling defensive plays. I mean, everything they designed in their defensive playbook has worked in this first half. And remember, Archuleta, look at number 9, he's right here. That's Brown, there's the sack, and scoops it up. He turns into a running back. Will Durding, number 51, boy, has he had a good first half as well. Not going for 2, though.
Cougar coaches are glad that he took that 40-minute drive to his uncle's house to answer the phone when they recruited Will Durding. From the cattle ranch in rural Washington to the big-time football arena on the best stage in college football, perhaps Notre Dame Stadium, he's been a star.
Yeah, the coaches said, we don't coach you much. We just let him go.
Drew Dunning for the extra point attempt. As the boos rain down, the extra point is dead center. Will Durding in the defense of Washington State, taking a page from the Notre Dame defense book a year ago by scoring a defensive touchdown.
Well, have a listen to this.
In the long annals of Notre Dame football, Pat, I can't imagine a worse first half for an offensive unit. Sure, there've been some probably.
There really isn't anything to hang your hat on. I mean, usually you go into halftime and say, listen, we're going to start out with the run because we ran the ball pretty well, or we're going to go back out and start throwing the ball because we threw the ball pretty well, but they really didn't do anything well in that first half. And I think he's going to have to consider a quarterback change in the second half.
Meanwhile, the few crimson-clad Washington State fans that are here are enjoying every moment on their feet, cheering. There they are. You can see them. There aren't many. A few there in the top of the end zone, a few down closer. But the long trip from Pullman was worth it in their eyes as Graham Sidarius tees it up for the Cougars. Another squib. Duff using a blocker. Breaks free. He's down the sideline, and the pursuit angle cuts him off. Finally bumped out of bounds by Alex Teams, who's made a couple of good special team plays for the Cougars. But they own the bright spot so far for Notre Dame.
Just like a year ago, Vontez Duff puts his team in position really to gain an awful lot of confidence before halftime. He dodges and weaves, and then he uses some strength. Former high school running back. But, I mean, he did his job. And, you know, a touchdown here by the Irish would be a tremendous psychological lift.
35-yard return by Duff. Yeah, but that's asking a lot.
The way they play
so far.
But they've got good athletes.
From the 45 of Washington State, swing pass complete to McKnight. Raymond McKnight only a couple of yards as that quick Washington State defense collapses on him, led by Don Jackson.
Really had very little success throwing the ball down the field. You know, when they've completed passes, they've been in the flats. They've been kind of screen types. Offense today, 5 fumbles, 3 of which were lost, 4 sacks. The missed field goal, yikes.
Holiday crossing pattern again, short of the first down.
I guess who made the tackle?
McKnight hit hard by Will Durden. And Don Jackson got a piece as well. See the first down line. They're a couple of yards short on third down. From the shotgun, Carlisle Holiday has protection and a man. And it's caught by Jared Clark. Clark with a first down, tackled by Jackson. But the Irish with a rare first down.
And you know, they're going to have to, the Irish are going to have to get a lot of more production out of the tight end this offensive season.
Hurry up offense with the clock down to 1:37. Clock stopped momentarily to reset the change and now restarted. 1 timeout left. Again, right across the middle behind him, but Stovall makes the catch. And Jackson again, they're picking on the middle linebacker across the middle.
A nice catch there by Maurice Stovall, but a little bit more accurately thrown, and he runs after the catch.
1:15 on the clock. Again, the hurry-up offense from Notre Dame. The hurry-up has been, so far, the most productive. Blitz coming from Washington State. Holiday got rid of it in a hurry to Clark. Shattered tackler to the 10. Drives to the 8-yard line. Knocked out of bounds there. Holiday under pressure got rid of it to Clark, and the big tight end carried Carl Pema with him out of bounds.
Well, that's the second catch by the tight end position for Notre Dame in this game. Last year they caught 24 passes, but none for touchdowns. And here's where I think Jared Clark and Billy Palmer, Anthony Fasano, a freshman tight end, have a chance of making a difference.
11-yard gain. It's first and goal, and Bill Doba calling for a timeout. It comes with 1:01 on the clock, and the final timeout of the first half for the Cougars. Emmy Award winners John Larroquette and Christine Baranski star in the premiere Happy Family, which will be right after Whoopi. They want an empty nest, but their kids have other plans. Happy Family premieres Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, here on NBC.
Well, Tyrone Willingham is thinking getting his team in the end zone. They get the second half possession to open the second half.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, you know, if they score here, there's so much, you know, confidence in this game. Playing the position of quarterback, I think, you know, slowing down pass rushers, worried about that Washington State defense. But if you get something on the board, preferably the touchdown, your confidence has to grow. And you can't play this game without confidence.
No touchdowns the last 3 games, all the way back to last season, and they opened up the 2002 campaign with no offensive touchdowns their first 2 games. This hurry-up offense has been their most productive so far. Maybe that's why Bill Doba, the old defensive man, said, you know, let's slow things down here a little bit.
And would you consider opening the second half with a no-huddle offense? I mean, I would. I'd at least consider it.
19-0 Cougars in the first ever meeting between these two teams. The Pac-10 co-champions a year ago, the Rose Bowl representative of the Pac-10 losing to Oklahoma in the game in Pasadena. Coming in here 1-0 and giving Notre Dame all they can handle first half.
Three wide receivers up to the top of the formation.
Carlisle Holiday on the current drive has hit all 5 of his passes for 38 yards. First and goal from the 7. Blitz comes again, picked up, and then dropped his Holiday, sacked one more time, and he calls quickly for a timeout. Isaac Brown, one of those quick defensive ends, coming around the corner on Holiday.
And Durning, believe it or not, 51 was also in there as part of that sack. I mean, Will Durning's playing so well, he's losing his name. His D's coming off.
He's made a name today.
He's going to be Erding soon. Watch, number 51 comes right in there and runs right over Ryan Grant. This is as good as first half as you're going to see out of a linebacker in college football. Will Durning's been terrific.
He was taking offensive linemen like bowling pins with it.
You know, his redshirt freshman year, he actually took a Saturday off, he grew up on a big ranch, asked the coach if he could go back to the ranch for their branding. 4,000 cattle or 2,000 cattle on their 4,000-acre ranch, I'm told.
He was on a Class A state championship game as a junior in high school. An all-stater twice. Defensive back and linebacker. Rushed for 1,400 yards as a running back and was on a state baseball championship too as a left fielder at Okanagan High School.
Why do they call them cattle rather than steers? I mean, what number of steers do you have to create a cattle? Is it 10? Is it 100?
Well, they're not all steers. Only some of them are steers.
Okay. I knew you'd know the answer. I think that's an answer. Anyway, very important.
If you're going to run for the governor of California,
I got to know that. It's going to start with protection for the Irish. They've had a really tough time slowing down both the defensive ends and blitzing linebackers and the strong safety Virgil Williams. So if I'm the quarterback, the first thing I do is find out where number 24 is to see if he's in position to blitz. It looks like he's back in pass formation. So Holiday at least knows he's not going to see that blitz.
Sacked 5 times already today, as you saw. Blitz coming again. Holiday, the blitz is picked up. Flag is down. Pass is caught for a touchdown if it stands by McKnight. But it could very well be a hold as they picked up the blitz. And that is the call. Notre Dame allowed 5 or more sacks only once last season against Michigan in the second game of the year, and 5 in this first half by Washington State.
Well, we talked about an inexperienced offensive line, but also I think you need to give the Cougar front 7 an awful lot of credit, and their strong safety an awful lot of credit.
They blitzed that time.
Offense, 10 yards to the previous spot. Still second down.
Ryan Grant, the back, is going to try to stuff the blitz again. Looks like they called him for the hold. It didn't look like a hold on Ryan Grant to me. I think Grant's the guilty party. It's right there. Right there. Yeah. It's
holding
number 52 on Don Jackson.
Blitzing linebacker.
Yep.
It nullifies the touchdown pass and makes it second down and goal from the 26.
Keep blitzing until Notre Dame.
Holiday sets up a screen pass. The tight end Clark just tripped up as he dives inside the 20. Irish have no timeouts left with 40 seconds and counting.
Carlisle Holiday needs to get over to the line of scrimmage.
Carlisle Holiday was daydreaming back there in the back or something. I don't know what he was doing. Coming to the 22nd mark in the first half. Another blitz on its way. Picked up. Holiday has time. Lost it up for McKnight. Oh, he almost made a one-hand stab, but he was out of the end zone. Incomplete. Battling Carl Pema.
One of the things I like that Rob Akey is doing, the defensive coordinator, is he just continues to blitz. I mean, none of this, prevent defense, none of the soft stuff. He's had success blitzing. He just keep bringing guys. 4th
down and field goal attempt upcoming. The Irish desperate to get some points on the board, and remember, the first attempt by Seta was poorly conceived. It's a 37-yarder.
That's Cody Boyd right there in the middle, number 80, who blocked 2 last week.
Fitzpatrick holds, gets this one down, and it will be up and good. So with 10 seconds left in the half, a 4th down, field goal by Seta is good, and the Irish finally get some points on the board. Their hurry-up offense, the most productive offensive showing of the game so far, and a touchdown pass nullified by penalty. They settle for 3. And now,
but as poorly as they played, they're clearly still in the ballgame. But they need a good offensive drive to begin this second half. As we've talked, if you've been the most productive in the hurry-up, why not come out and just run that offense?
Washington State might have helped things out with that timeout they took a little bit, because the Irish were scrambling there at the end. 10 seconds left in the half, dominated by the Cougars of Washington State. A sea of green, again, as called for by Tyrone Willingham. Remember last season he called for the fans to wear green. Student activities sold 140,000 green t-shirts. Coach Willingham telling us yesterday that they've already exceeded that 140,000 number this year, as return to glory was the theme last year. This time it's here come the Irish. And the Irish haven't come very far so far in the first half of the opener.
Where they've really been stuffed on the running game, and I think that is really been the beginning of the problems. They need to run the ball well to be able to throw it well. But opening drive in the second half is the absolute key for the Irish right now.
Sammy Moore, the deep man for the Cougars. Let's see if Senator splits it. Yes, he does. Taken by one of the up men who just falls to the turf. It was Aaron Wagner, I believe, and 8 seconds left.
They should just take a knee, right?
I think that Matt Kegel would just take a knee. He's hit 8 of 17, 112 yards, and a score.
And distributed it to, 7 different receivers, we said, using tight ends, backs, wide receivers. It's been a very well-coached and disciplined Washington State team this first half.
Boy, has it ever, on both sides of the football. And Kegel does indeed take a knee to bring the first half to a close. This one will send some shock waves around the country as the halftime score is flashed. Don't underestimate Washington State. The Cougars leading, and Lewis Johnson's with Coach Bill Doba.
All right, thanks, Coach. An impressive first half of football. What are you most proud about as we look at this score here, 19-3?
Obviously, defense. They played their hearts out. Those guys have sacked, and they've gotten turnovers for us, and we just got to get a little bit better offensively.
And what will you say to them in the locker room about this second half and this opportunity to knock off Notre Dame?
Well, it's only a half, man. They got a long way to go. I got to go because we got to win first.
All right, thanks. Thank you. Okay, Tom.
The career assistant who grew up in this area brings the Washington State Cougars in to take a 19-3 halftime lead. Now stay tuned to the Lexus Halftime Show with Jimmy Roberts after these messages from your local station.
Characteristically dismal first half. What did you say to this team specifically about trying to correct things here in the second half?
Well, the first thing is we've got to get out of making the mistakes. We've made too many, and we've not handled the strong side blitz pressure. If we do that, eliminate the fumbles and the penalties, get some quick points on the board, we can come back and win the football game.
What about your quarterback situation? Do you stay with the one you have, or do you go to Brady Quinn?
Oh, we stay with our quarterback. There's some things he's doing very well. I think the completion percentage is good. Well, we're not doing it. We're not getting our blitz done with the quarterback and with our protection and with our coaches.
All right,
that's a problem everywhere.
All right, thanks. Looks like we'll continue to see Holiday, Joe.
All right, Lewis, and it was a team-wide breakdown for the Irish in that first half.
Well, you're right. I think the real fundamental problem is they just ran the ball so poorly. 8 rushing yards right here, and that was on 19 carries, 19 attempts. It was 5 sacks, so that inexperienced offensive line, I think, played a large role. I heard Coach Willingham talk about the blitz pickup. They did not pick up the blitz well, and when they did, they got run over. So that is something they're going to have to correct, or they're not going to be able to come back in this game. Coach Willingham also said quick points. Well, you've got 2 good returners here, and an opening series after your team scored a field goal in the last series, so they have a chance. But this is an important series for the Irish.
So the Irish down 16, facing the largest halftime deficit at home that they've had since 1980.
Yikes.
Graham Sidarius will tee it up and kick off for Washington State. And Duff and Jones are deep for Notre Dame. Another squib from Sidarius. Picked up by Duff on the hop. Montez Duff hit hard at the 27-yard line.
Tom, Washington State came in here with a plan. A special teams plan, and that was to squib the ball. That's worked. They came in with a defensive plan of blitzing. That has worked. And offensively, they've been efficient.
See, the completion percentage, as Coach Willingham mentioned, has been high for Carlisle Holiday, but of course the sacks and the
not too many yards after the catch,
and the low yardage total seem to be more important. First down from their own 28-yard line. Holiday will pass on first down, and he has it complete and out of bounds. McKnight has been the steadiest receiver for the Irish so far. Carl Pema forced him out.
Well, Virgil Williams, number 24, came off the backside again. Didn't get there, but was unblocked and close. Now they are going to huddle up. I thought they were going to do the no huddle.
Yep, so they are huddling up. They get 9 yards on first down.
Yeah, I think if it weren't a short down situation, they were going to go no huddle. And every time I think when he comes up, he needs to see where 24 is. He's off the line of scrimmage. He should not blitz from there.
Here's the handoff to Grant, hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped for a loss by Jeremy Williams.
His teammates' nickname for Jerry Williams is the Reverend, because anytime they need some talking to, things aren't going well, he gathers them all up on 95, and he talks to his team. He kind of runs right through the block, I think, of Mark LaVore.
Good student who's twice, Pat, been academic all Pac-10.
Working on his master's, already graduated. The Reverend.
Third down and 2. Jones at tailback, gets the handoff, nowhere to go. Cuts up and is stopped. Close to the first down marker. They'll spot it just across that yellow line, which means first down Irish on a determined run there by Julius Jones.
You're right, Tom. That should not have been a first down. They're going to measure it. But my goodness, he had 5 white jerseys around him very early in that run. And he got the first down. Now, that's a little run, but a big play. Just what the Irish needed to keep the ball.
So it looked like Jones would be potentially thrown for another loss on the carry and lowered his head. Pounded forward for the first down on the first possession of the second half for the Irish.
Some of the best runs and some of the most important runs are those 2 and 3 yards for the first down.
Grant back at tailback, the lone setback on a 3 wide receiver formation. Short drop, Holiday throws it over the head of Stovall, incomplete. Stovall wide open in the center of the defense, where it seems that Notre Dame has found a little seam toward the end of the first half, and right there Stovall was open.
Well, if there's that many guys blitzing, there should be. Although I think that was one of the few times I didn't see anybody blitz for Washington State. Virgil Williams, 24, who's played so well, got a little bit turned around.
Turned him around, didn't he?
But you know, protecting a 19-3 lead, and with the way the offense is struggling, that's not a bad play by Virgil Williams. Keep things in front of you. Don't get beat deep.
Jones back in at tailback. Holiday get a sidearm toss and snared by Jeff Samarza, the freshman, with his first career catch. Carl Pema tackled him immediately, but the true freshman from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Well, we got a couple of good freshmen we've seen thus far. And Duquay, number 81 for the Irish, and Samarza, number 83. Tyrone William, not afraid to play freshman receivers. He played Stovall and Rima McKnight last year with some success. And they need some dynamic plays out of their wide receivers.
Third down and 5 for Notre Dame. Carlisle Holiday is hit 16 of 22 now, but only for 101 yards. Blitz. They back out of it. And Holiday scrambles for the first down. Cuts to the outside of the sideline. Carlisle Holiday forced out of bounds inside the 30. Good block from Omar Jenkins downfield. Hamza Abdullah knocked Carlisle Holiday out of bounds after a 27-yard ramble.
Yeah, I think they need to take the shackles off him as a runner. I know they want him to be a drop-back passer, but that is what Carlisle Holiday does the best. And you know, 2 years ago, he ran for 666 yards. There's a holding.
Obvious hold there.
And last year, he only ran for 200. So it's 450 yards less of rushing last year from Carlisle Holiday. Now, I know they were trying to protect him, but boy, he's good when he does that.
One of the Irish blockers had hold of the jersey of Jeremy Williams, but no call. First down, Notre Dame, 28-yard line of Washington State. Again, the blitz comes. And Holiday is decked. Incomplete pass, ruled incomplete. Eric Coleman right in the whiskers of Carlisle Holiday.
Yikes, if it's not Virgil Williams, the strong safety, it's Eric Coleman, the free safety. I mean, good plan, and they seem to be blitzing at the right time. They've got a beat, I think, on the Irish snap count because, boy, it's a perfect timing. Right up in here. As soon as the ball snapped, he's right there. They tie up the guard Lavore, and that allows Coleman to get in there cleanly on Holiday. There's a guy, Rob Akey, who's done a terrific job. First year as defensive coordinator of the Cougars.
Second down and 10. Holiday shoots it for the end zone over the head of Rima McKnight. And incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10.
That's okay. You need to throw some of those passes to open up some intermediate throws. And if you keep that ball in play, maybe an athletic Rima McKnight catches it. It's a good call and not a bad throw by Holiday. Again, I think if you're Washington State, now you begin to worry about Carlisle Holiday in these situations as a rusher. So maybe it takes some of the pressure. I mean, you worry about blitzing him too much. If he shows that he can run and pick up first downs.
Samarza came in with a play late. This game clock, or excuse me, the play clock already down to 2. As you see the conversions, and Holiday wasn't ready. The snap sails over his head.
He tried to call
timeout. There's a...
Oh, they're going to call a penalty on Don Jackson, I think.
Will that be a blow to the head spearing penalty on him? But wow, the rust continues to show on the Notre Dame offense. That was from the sideline because the play came in late with Jeff Samarza. The time he was out into the huddle to bring the play in, the play clock was already ticking down. Time there at the line of scrimmage, it's almost expired.
Right, and Holiday is signaling for a timeout when the ball snapped.
Irish could be bailed out by a penalty here.
Dead ball, personal foul, defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Wow, unbelievable. Here he's trying to call a timeout. Whoop, there goes the ball. Unbelievable. And then a real dumb play by number 52, Don Jackson. I mean, you have him in, what, 4th and forever? And he hits him right there. There's the penalty. Gets me on there first.
There's the flag.
And that's the good call.
Remember now, Bob Morton, the center, is brand new. And
4 of them were brand new.
And the snap just sailed right by Carlisle Holiday. So automatic first down, 30-yard line. New life for the Irish. Hand off to Grant. Ryan Grant, 3 tough yards.
And we've been saying that a lot. 2 tough yards, 1 tough yard.
Guess who got a piece of the tackle?
I'm going to guess it's number 51, Will Dirty.
How'd you guess?
You know, the thing in Tyrone Willingham was talking to us this week about it. On an offensive team, getting the choreography of the offensive line is probably the hardest thing to do at the start of the season. Now, this could end up being a pretty good offensive line for the Irish. They certainly have the size. But, you know, the live bullets are flying. It's really hard to get those guys playing well together early, and they have not played well together.
Washington State Cougar nearly jumped offside, got back, and then the sack of Carlisle almost. And he manages to unload it. Dirting, blasts Ryan Grant out of the backfield. Penalty marker is on the play.
I think there are about 4 guys wearing number 51 and white. There cannot only be one Will Dirting out there. Gotta be more than one.
Flag down again.
He got his D back at halftime, too. Did you see that?
He earned it.
He's blitzed well. He's kind of roamed the middle well. And he's hustled well. And then he tackles well.
He laid out Ryan Grant.
Ryan Grant last year had shoulder injuries, knee injuries, ankle injuries, hand injuries.
Roughing the passer, defense. Ball will be tacked on to the end of the run, half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Roughing the passer call against Washington State. That's twice in this drive. Let's see now.
He's out of the
pass. Hit late. It was.
Not necessarily roughing the passer. That's a
late hit.
He was a runner at that point. It was a late hit. Good call. Okay, Rob.
So 2 big penalties against Washington State have kept the Notre Dame drive going.
Absolutely. They should have punted perhaps twice on this drive.
First down at the 12-yard line of the Cougars. Blitz coming. Ryan Grant hit in his tracks.
You know, the blitz is hard to run against as well as pass against unless you burn it. They're going to continue to do that. I think it's harder to run against those blitzes than it is to pass against them.
We've seen, one screen pass today and no draw plays. Are you surprised at that?
Well, really the best one was what turned out to be a quarterback draw by Carlisle Holiday.
Ryan Grant has carried 10 times now for 20 yards, 2 a carry.
It's good math. I was going to do that for you.
Good math is all it is.
You were really hot.
It's not much else about this positive.
You know, Bill Goldberg, speaking of math, was a math minor.
Math minor at Ball State.
Ball State.
Holiday rolls. Again, whips it out of the end zone incomplete. Fighting his way to the outside and then having to unload it. Brian Hall this time was the man. Number 9 is Pat Dillingham. And number 10 is Brady Quinn. Those are the 2 backup quarterbacks.
Now, we were told yesterday that Dillingham was injured and that the number 2 guy was Brady Quinn, but it certainly looks like Dillingham is capable of playing. Started a couple games last year. Actually engineered a nice win against Michigan State.
Be a tough spot to bring in someone for their first collegiate snap.
Indeed. They may need to, though. They can get 6 on the board here.
3rd down and 10. The opening drive of the 3rd quarter. And a blitz comes again. Carlisle Holiday steps up, shakes one tackler, and cannot shake away again. Stopped for another loss. That'll go in the books as a lost play and bring up a 4th down.
And here comes in number 80, Cody Boyd, to try to block this thing.
Achalonu got credit for that stop of Carlisle Holiday, who by that time had pulled it down to try to run. And on 4th down, Nicholas Seta will try to kick a field goal. There's Boyd.
Yeah, look how high he gets. That's 6'8". We're going to talk about how he's blocked so many this year already.
32-yard attempt by Seta. And it is good.
Good kick.
So Notre Dame opens the second half with a long drive that results in a field goal. It's 19-6, Washington State. Carlisle Holiday, harried by the Washington State defense once again, manages to lead a field goal drive to cut the margin to 19-6.
It's not all Carlisle's fault. I mean, he's not getting a lot of room to operate.
Seta will kick off to Sammy Moore, who's joined by Jonathan Smith deep for the Cougars. Seta's boot taken at the 3-yard line by Sammy Moore. Moore can't get away, stopped at the 22-yard line by the special teams of the Irish. And now Matt Keegle will make his first appearance of the second half with the Cougar offense. Keegle in the first quarter ran 22 plays and gained 131 yards and then shut down in the second quarter. 0 yards and a fumble.
Yeah, the Irish defense have played pretty well, as advertised. You had a lot of returning guys. They haven't created all the turnovers that they did a year ago, but Kent Baer right now is thinking, hey, not only stuff them, but find a way to cause a fumble, a turnover, interception.
There's a false start, which will cost the Cougars 5 right off the bat.
The opening in the second half has gone well for Notre Dame. Opening drive, field goal.
Before the snap, full start, offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Gordon Reese, the referee, with whom we spoke yesterday, 27 years as a referee.
Pac-10 official, former pitcher.
Yeah, played for the Kansas City professional baseball team.
Keegle barely got the handoff to Jermaine Green. Looked like the timing was off on that play, and Notre Dame stuffs it with Darrell Campbell first to make contact.
So we talked about Notre Dame's defense, how good they were a year ago under the leadership of Kent Baer. You know, 9th in scoring defense, really stuffed the run, create a lot of turnovers. Look at that. Points allowed, I think, is the most important. 33 forced turnovers down here at the bottom. They scored 5 touchdowns as a defense. They need to play like that in the second half.
They'll try to run for it. And Green, 3 or 4 yards, wrestled down short of the original line of scrimmage. Cedric Hilliard got the tackle.
The one thing Washington State can't afford to do, though, Tom, is go into a shell. How many times have you seen football games where you get a little lead, particularly on the road, you get too conservative? I mean, this is a team capable of changing the pace a lot, but they certainly opened this second half very conservatively.
Jermaine Green knocked out of his shoe, put it back on, and is facing a dime defense. 6 defensive backs for Notre Dame on 3rd and long. And again, a false start, it appeared, up front for the Cougars.
As good as they looked that first quarter.
False start, offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
That's George Yarno, the offensive line coach.
Long-time NFL player.
Great player. Great.
Interesting to notice all the former Cougar players that are on this Washington State staff. Incredible loyalty, and they all say, well, it's because Pullman's a friendly place. It's the people. It takes a certain person to appreciate a small agricultural town, but those that do are very, very loyal to the school and the area. 3rd and even longer now. Kegel escapes the pocket.
And hold on to the ball.
Yep, and he does as he's hit hard. Bible and Duff sandwich him. Got back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down and long, and a punt upcoming for the Cougars.
Okay, and remember, Vontez Duff got it started right before halftime with a great return.
Now the fans are starting to get back into it as Bosler lines up in punt formation, and the dangerous Duff back upfield around his 40-yard line. High snap. Bosler drags it down and sends it on its way. It's short. Duff says get away from it as it bounces out of bounds, and they'll line up the angle and spot it at about the 40-yard line. Good field position for the Irish, only a 36-yard punt, but Notre Dame trails 19-6. Notre Dame football is brought to you by ADT, America's residential and commercial security leader. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP. By the Document Company, Xerox, there's a new way to look at it. And by Charles Schwab. There's never been a better time for Charles Schwab. With our producer Jim Bell, director John Gonzalez, Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, and Lewis Johnson. Opening game of the season for Ty Willingham's Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who trailed Washington State 19-6 with 7:45 to go, 3rd quarter. Notre Dame went this first 8 possessions with 0 points. They've scored a field goal on each of their last 2, one to end the half and one to start the 3rd quarter. Zach Giles now in its center, and Bob Morton moves over to right guard. The veteran Milligan out as the ball sails over Omar Jenkins' head, incomplete, covered by Carl Pema.
It's the 3rd time we've seen really good coverage by Carl Pema, number 15. Again, in the Pac-10, you need to have 4 good corners, not just 2, because it's a throwing conference, and certainly have 2 in Jason David and Carl Pema. And they brought in Don Turner, a 3rd corner as well, who's played pretty well for the Cougars. But, you know, as well as they play the finesse game, they can come up and really stuff you, too, defensively. Good play by the front 7, particularly Will Dirty, number 51, right in here.
Showing blitz. Play action. There wasn't a fake, it was a handoff, and a stop for a loss. Donnie Jackson stops Julius Jones for a loss in the play.
That just, the runs on 1st and 2nd down have just not been productive for the Irish, and that has been the problem. Once again, they're in 3rd and 11. An injury to a Washington State player.
Right on the Cougar sideline. Genatone, outside linebacker.
One of their captains. Dingley just played with 10 as well as Will Durding's playing, right? just play with 10.
He's been equal to about 3.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Holiday went to the sideline for the play call during the injury stoppage of play. Now back out, facing a 3rd down and 11. Trips, 3 wide receivers, right of the formation, bottom of the screen. From the shotgun, Carlisle Holiday under pressure. Screen pass to the wide receiver Omar Jenkins, and there's a flake flag that comes in as Jenkins was hit hard and dropped for a loss by Achilonu.
I think John Jackson, number 52, may have had a face mask. I think that's it. That's 2 penalties on Don Jackson in this quarter. That ball was tipped. Amazing how many guys rushed the passer of Washington State and then reacted to that screen.
There's that quickness we spoke of.
Absolutely.
Again.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask. Defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's the 15-yarder, and that results in a Notre Dame first down. So that's 3 times now in the 3rd quarter that big 15-yard penalties against Doba and the Cougars have kept Notre Dame drives alive. In the first quarter, Washington State had 6 first downs to only 1 for Notre Dame. Look how it's turned around since then, but nothing much to show for it for the Irish. So first down now at the Cougar 46. Clock already down to 6.5 minutes. 9 penalties against the Cougars. Holiday going for the touchdown for Stovall. Double coverage and intercepted.
Oh, man. That's terrific. Great play.
Tremendous coverage on the play by Don Turner. They had double coverage on Stovall, and is that one that Holiday should not have thrown?
Yeah, he was not open. But again, he's trying to give his receivers a chance. I don't blame him for it. Receivers got to try to break that up. But Don Turner, we just talked about you need 4 good corners. He's their 3rd corner. He isn't even one of their starters, and look at the coverage. Gets the head turned, perfect position, and then a great catch by Turner. And Stovall's going to try to knock that one away.
Another Irish turnover. Turner with the interception there. Carlisle Holiday just threw the interception. He has 18 completions today. That's a new career high, but only for 104 yards, less than 4 yards per attempt. Nothing doing on the ground for Jonathan Smith. Darrell Campbell hit him first. Then the Irish pounced all over him.
I mean, that's one thing to create the turnovers. It's an entirely different thing to make something of them. But fumble leads to a field goal, fumble leads to a field goal, and they've scored on a fumble return. So they're doing both things well.
This time the interception came deep in their own territory, now trying to blast it out from the 5-yard line. They got a yard on that play, so they're at the 6.
And Matt Kegel needs to be aware. He's a 50-year senior quarterback. Don't turn it over here.
Again, it's on the ground for a yard to Smith.
But that's okay. I would accept if I were Bill Doba 3 plays and a punt as well as his defense is playing. Talked about being too conservative earlier in this quarter, but not down here. You want to be throwing the ball too much downfield.
Had the last 6 possessions, Washington State has run just 15 plays with 6 total yards.
Well, again, the defense has done a very good job throwing them out of rhythm. They've had some penalties that have set them back as well. Important down, I think, right now for Matt Kegel. If they choose to throw it, be very careful.
Avi Amiri, a true freshman, sees his first Notre Dame action. Irish showing a blitz, but don't come. Kegel stands in the pocket and hits Darling. And Darling close to the first down. Garen Bible stops him, and it looks like it's across the yellow line. That would be a huge conversion on 3rd down and long for the Cougars.
DeVar Darling is such a good and big target. He's 6'3", he's 215 pounds, and he ran the proper route at the proper distance. Right there, he knew exactly where the first down was.
And it's close enough that they will measure to see if he picked up the first down.
And you mentioned that, the Travails, his family has had very good student. In one semester while he was sitting out waiting for the whole situation to clear. Got a 4.0 GPA, high 3.5 GPA now.
It is a Washington State first down.
And that's a big one. And we've talked about Washington State's ability on offense to throw the ball downfield or pound it. I mean, really try to beat you a couple different ways. Good football teams do that, have more than one way of controlling the game. You've got powerful backs, as we just saw there in DeVar Darling. They've got some pretty good receivers.
Not much rushing. 34 yards for Smith today, 14 for Green. They'll try it again, this time to Smith. And again, the ground game not there for the Cougars as the Notre Dame defense collapses. Tuck and Hoyt combine on the stop after a yard gain.
You know, it's amazing without Courtney Watson and Mike Goolsby, two of their three starting linebackers, how well they're defending the run. Something they did well last year when opposing teams averaged less than 3 yards a carry.
Now inside 4 minutes, third quarter.
The one thing I like Jonathan Smith doing that last time is really putting both hands over the ball as he was going down.
Play action fake. Kegel chased, rolls out, delivers on the run. It was for Boyd. Did he catch it? It's ruled.
He caught it, but it's out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Incomplete. Still waiting for the signal, but Boyd, disgusted as he thought he had the catch in front of Garen Bible.
Well, he is a fluid 6'8" guy, isn't he? Number 80's right down here. Up the field, good head fake. If the ball's thrown a little bit earlier, he has a chance. Boy, that's a tight throw there. Yeah, that was a good
Just
ball.
had a toe on the sideline.
Fluid guy who's going to be a big part of this offense.
So here's another big third down play. Third and long again for the Cougars. 4 wide receivers on the field for Washington State. 3 to the bottom of the screen. Notre Dame showing blitz. Kegel, short drop. Flips it out to Boyd. And the big tight end has a Washington State first down as he pounds Preston Jackson and gets first down yardage. Another third down conversion by the Cougars.
Yeah, you know, they pounded, even with not a lot of success. I mean, they're using that clock down to 3:30 in the third. But when they have to pick up those first downs, they throw it to tight ends, they throw it to wide receivers, they throw it to the back sometimes. Excellent play calling by Mike Levenseller and really good execution.
3 of 9 since that 7-11 start for Kegel. Smith hit in the backfield but managed to shake free and picks up 4 or 5 yards before Preston Jackson gets him. And Ryan Leaf and others. Short toss again to the tight end. Using the tight ends effectively are the Cougars. Benjamin that time tackled by Hoyt. There's Tim Rosenbaugh upstairs, the quarterback's coach of the Cougars.
Yeah, we talked to him a little bit yesterday. We said, hey, what did you do after you retired from the Cardinals? And he went out and he kind of rode some bulls for a while, then went to Mexico, opened up a fishing business down there. He said, you know, I got my retirement out of the way early. I've got to work the rest of my life. But he had a terrific career at Washington State. And you mentioned there's 5 former players who are assistants at Washington State on the staff right now.
Jonathan Smith. We saw that all the great quarterbacks that have been at Washington State, and Drew Bledsoe was coached his freshman season anyway. His offensive coordinator was Bill Diedrich, now the offensive coordinator of the Irish.
Indeed. Well, here's the 5 coaches, alums who are now on the staff at Washington State. You mentioned, Tom, earlier, it being just a really kind of a family affair up there in Pullman. Mike Levenseller was talking to us this week how he just loves it, wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And they've got a good football program going now, too.
7 passes to the tight end today for Washington State. Benjamin with his first catch a moment ago. Kegel has another crossing to a tight end. Benjamin's second catch takes him close to the Irish 40, where it's tackled by Corey Mays. A gain of 17 yards. Let's go to Lewis.
Well, Tom, I'm here with Greg and Carrie Kegel. They're the parents of Matt, who's out there quarterbacking the team right now. And I'm watching you guys watch him, and you're sort of having a great time doing this, I think. But tell me, what's the difference between watching your son as a backup for 3 seasons behind Gesser and now as the starter for the Cougars?
Well, mainly the fact that you know he's going to be the guy that's behind the center, and he's got to be prepared for every game 100%. You know, he's got to make sure that he's studied all the film and that he's put his team and himself in a position to win a game. So when he's a backup, you never know when you're going to get the opportunity. You don't know whether it's late in the game, early in the game, when it is, and so there's a difference.
Mom, have you guys at home talked about the fact that he has only one season really to prove himself and maybe follow other Cougar quarterbacks to the NFL?
Well, Lewis, I don't know that
I know you had to talk. What do you think, Dad?
He needs one season, one good season.
It's one shot.
Yeah, it's a one-shot deal, and this is an opportunity right here, and hopefully they'll take it and go with it. So,
all right.
Yep, they're ready.
You know what? I think they're so excited about what's happening. They're almost speechless up here, Tom.
Back in the summertime, Matt and his dad and his uncle and Ryan Leaf went back up into the wilderness of Montana, some 25 miles back up into the wilderness, stayed for a week hunting and fishing. He said it was one of the best times of his life.
Well, he ties his own flies, doesn't he, for fishing?
He's hit 4 of his last 5, Matt Kegel. Look at the running determined by Jonathan Smith. Was caught for a loss and managed to spin away and made it into not so bad of a loss. Maybe it cost him a yard.
And Tom, we found out this week that Matt Kegel is dating a soccer player, the female goalie on the soccer team at Washington State. And Sarah. And if there's anything about that, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, Carson Palmer, USC, he also dated the goalie at USC. So, ergo, he's the Heisman Trophy candidate favorite.
Sarah had some surgery earlier in the week, and Matt was there to help see her through it. Second down. Play stopped with a flag. Down to 34 seconds in the third quarter. Time running out on Notre Dame.
Before the snap, full start, offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still second down.
I tell you, Bill Doba is doing a great job of using most of this third quarter, isn't he? And for the Irish, this fourth quarter is going to be tough, and it doesn't get any easier next week. They travel to Michigan.
To the Big House.
Absolutely. And then back here for Michigan State.
Only the 4th penalty against Notre Dame. 12th play of this drive, as Washington State does work on the clock. Longest number of plays all day long. 5 receivers, empty backfield here. Kegel. This is Moore, Sammy Moore. Will be stopped short of the first down. He had a little seam for a moment.
Smart play by Sammy Moore. He stopped on the middle screen because he was going to run into an Irish defender. He just stopped. Kegel delivers the ball, and then he goes for about 10.
Cedric Hilliard made the tackle for Notre Dame. Into the third quarter. Washington State leading big. Back after this from your local NBC station. A game that began so full of optimism for Notre Dame fans now has reached almost the desperation phase. We start the fourth quarter. Third down play.
Flag down.
And a flag down as Matt Kegel is forced out of bounds by Justin Tuck and Freddie Parrish.
Yeah, Matt Kegel, he's had his moments of brilliance, but he certainly played a smart game, I think, throughout. And Lewis Johnson was talking to his parents about his one season. And the thing that I liked about him, he's being patient. He's not trying to force everything into one season so the NFL notices him. He's really using everything at his disposal. We've said 7 passes, receptions to tight ends, used wide receivers and backs.
And he made a conscious effort to understand that this was his one season.
Offense, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. It'll be 4th down.
Another penalty for only 6 men on the line. But he made a conscious effort to take his time, to be patient with this season and let it come to him. And this would be a huge boost, wouldn't it, to come into Notre Dame and beat the Irish, first ever meeting between the schools. Cal Bosler is in punt formation on 4th down with Vontez Duff standing at his 10.
I wouldn't give him a chance to return this one. I punted the end zone or punted out of bounds. Just do not give Vontez Duff a chance to return it.
Bosler sent it straight up and down. And it's beautifully executed, isn't it? At the 3-yard line. What a game plan Washington State had on offense, defense, and special teams. Another great one by Bosler. Backs the Irish up. Trailing 19-6, Notre Dame begins from its own 4-yard line after the Bosler punt was down deep. Keep it on the ground on first down to Ryan Grant.
You know, we talked about the great Washington State game plan, but look at this, the special teams play. Here is the punt by Bosler, and watch number 21 team. These two guys, both of them get down there. But teams number 21 is going to down this thing. First of all, perfect punt, straight up, and he's there, and he makes the catch. And that's how you win football games. It's not all the, you know, the 40-yard runs and the great, you know, throws. It's special teams plays, the little plays, and Alex Teams has had a couple of them on special teams thus far today.
Second down and 6. On the ground again to Grant. Cut back, and Grant has a seam to the sideline. Ryan Grant out of bounds at the 40-yard line. 36-yard run by Grant, forced out by Turner and Teams.
It started with really good vision by Ryan Grant. And then, because this play was supposed to go here, and watch the cutback. It's supposed to go right, then bounces to the left. So good vision, and then the speed sparks his team.
And there is a penalty for a personal foul.
Personal foul on a defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Some careless penalties committed by Washington State. If there's anything the coaches can point to they have not done well, it would be that.
Yeah, that one was on Alex Teams. The man we were just praising for the great special teams play.
So the ball in Washington State territory. Cougar 45-yard line. Notre Dame with a first down.
At times their enemy. I think they need to get in and out of the huddle. And we said at the beginning or the end of the first half, they seem to play best in their hurry-up offense.
Holiday slipping, now setting and throwing. Out of bounds, incomplete. Washington State fans want a grounding penalty, but as long as it crosses the line of scrimmage and he was outside the tackle box, it would be okay.
Doble wanted to hold him, but that wasn't intentional grounding. You're absolutely right, because he was outside the tackle. You know, the band always thinks you're going to win. No matter what the score, you love the band because
they just want to get on TV. Are you kidding?
The tuba section back there is very enthusiastic. I watched these guys practice yesterday. They work awfully hard, and they're a determined group.
Second down and 10. Holiday has it complete in the flat. Pass to Jenkins. Omar Jenkins puts on a move. Jenkins still on his feet. All the way down close to the 15-yard line where Eric Coleman catches him after a 27-yard gain and a block to Maurice Stovall downfield.
Yeah, what a clever little move there by Omar Jenkins. So you get a big run by Ryan Grant and then the senior Omar Jenkins. Now watch the move there, inside, and then a little bit further, right there. He runs right by Jason David to pick up an extra 7 or 8 yards. Best offensive drive for the Irish in the game.
By far. But can they get some points at the end of it? The ball rests at the 16-yard line of the Cougars. Notre Dame with an uphill climb. Prior to that first down, 4 of Notre Dame's last 5 as a result of Cougar penalties. This time they're getting some positive plays. Blitz. Holiday quickly out of the pocket. Sets his feet. Lost it. Out of bounds and incomplete.
At that time, Ryan Grant did pick up the blitz of Will Durden. Remember in the first half, they didn't do a very good job of that. He was beaten a couple of times, but that time he got a good piece of Will Durden. And although it wasn't a completed pass, it wasn't a sack or a fumble. One of the things the Irish should be working on this next week is their blitz pickup.
Long dry spell for the Notre Dame offense. They've gone 2 games and 3 quarters.
Good time, I think, to use Carlisle Holiday's legs. I mean, he's such a good runner.
They'll use Ryan Grant's legs, and he's wrestled down for a loss on the play. Penetration by Virgil Williams, the strong safety.
2 interceptions last week in their opening game. Caused at least 1 fumble today, but has been around the ball a lot.
And here they are again in 3rd and long. 3rd and 12 for the Irish after this nice play.
Yeah, good tackling team, don't you think, Tom?
Yeah, they are. You don't break many Cougar tackles.
No.
Virgil Williams holding on the foot that time, but got the job done. So as the shadows lengthen over Notre Dame Stadium, the Irish with a crucial third down. 3rd and 12 from the shotgun.
Took a lot of time when you're down 19-6.
Holiday, quarterback draw, nothing doing. Stop for another loss. This one by Josh Shavies.
Josh Shavies, a good story, number 44 for Washington State, a guy that was really highly recruited. Started his freshman year at tight end, and then got out of shape. They actually made him quit the team.
Had some attitude problems.
Yep, threw him off the team. He came back as a walk-on.
Lines up for a
and is making a difference.
39-yard field goal.
Set up to try another field goal. This one will be 39 yards.
Only touchdowns, not field goal attempts.
Set his kick on its way, and it is good. Nicholas Setta with his 3rd field goal in 4 attempts today, but the clock shows 12:09, and the Irish still down 10. Xylophone rendition of the Notre Dame victory march, but they've serenaded only field goals so far today.
One of the best, isn't it?
Maybe the best. That's the way they announce it every time at the game.
The people at Michigan might disagree.
Yeah, Setta's kickoff to Moore and Smith, a deep one from Nicholas Setta, and a touchback. They'll come out to the 20. Well, Pat, we have a new task for you this season.
Okay.
It's identifying our Hall's Fruit Breezers screaming fan of the game. Here's some candidates.
She's not screaming. There's a candidate, yeah. We're number one, those guys. Nice smile, but no screaming out of that guy. He's not a candidate. She's going to win the lipstick award. We'll get some lipstick for her, but she's not screaming enough. But this guy, you think?
No, I've got one for you.
He's a hand. Yeah.
Obviously in need of a Hall's Fruit Breezer.
Absolutely. Well, I think the whole Washington State section needs some.
Yeah, right. They're going to take a carload back. Last 12 possession, Washington State ran 12 plays. They had to punt, but they did run off 6.5 minutes. They'll work on the clock again with a handoff to Jermaine Green. Point and Curry, the tacklers for Notre Dame.
This offensive line for Washington State we haven't talked a lot about yet, but they have had a very solid game. Haven't opened necessarily a lot of giant holes for the rushing game, but they've protected Matt Keegle well. These guys are very, very tall. They go 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", and 6'9". The center's only 6'2". I didn't mention him.
Keegle completes the pass, and the ball's loose. It's a completion and a fumble recovery by the Irish.
Well, I'll tell you, those officials aren't sure.
Yeah.
Yep, they're going to give it to him.
Vontez Duff made it happen with the hit.
And the Irish, as they did a year ago, create a turnover and get right back in it, down by 10. The quick pass to the tight end, good call in this kind of situation, then a real tackle. Did he have possession? Official says yes. I'm not so sure, but Glenn Earl makes a recovery.
Tough call. He did take a couple of steps.
I think he did.
I did too. I agree.
That second look, I think he had possession.
And Vontez Duff, what a hit.
Yeah, well, remember he set up one field goal with a return, and then set up his offensive team again with a forced fumble.
So spots the ball at the Washington State 25 after Keagle's pass complete and then fumbled. Best field position of the day for Notre Dame. They go to Julius Jones. Washington State strings it out, but Jones escapes. Julius Jones fights his way to the 2-yard line. Jason Schmidt with a block from the fullback spot. It covers 23 yards for Jones.
And I'll tell you one other thing that you won't notice unless you watch the tape tomorrow is Omar Jenkins, the wide receiver, made his defensive back think it was an absolute pass and takes the defensive back all the way down to the goal line. There's the block by the fullback you just talked about. And see, the defensive back's way up here because Omar Jenkins took him down there with him. A pretty good execution all the way around, and the Irish have a chance to make it a 3-point game.
They'll spot him out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. So 1st and goal, Notre Dame from the Washington State 7. Fumble snap, and Cougars recovered.
No, the
Or did they know? No. Now they say Notre Dame has it.
You know, that's on Gordon Reese.
Achelanu, I thought, had the ball.
I sure thought he had it too, number 17. But Gordon Reese, the referee, was right there and gave it to Notre Dame.
Wow.
This is what, the fourth missed exchange. Now, they used two different centers.
See, Achelanu has it right there. And then it, they just...
He did a great job.
Carlisle Holiday with a quick hand swiped it.
Best play of the day, seriously, by Carlisle Holiday right there.
But another botched exchange. Zach Giles is playing center. Bob Morton at guard, replacing Sean Milligan, who is injured and has been out this whole quarter. He's been fighting a back injury, the 3-year starter for the Irish.
Good call by Gordon Reese, the referee, right on top of it.
What about the sleight of hand by Carlisle Holiday? Holiday's pass, complete, touchdown! Rima McKnight.
Yeah, but it couldn't have come at a better time. Right when they needed it.
And now Nicholas Setter for the extra point. After the 11-yard touchdown pass, Holiday to McKnight. Setter's point after barely slips through the upright, and it's good as the momentum swings to the Irish. Now down only 3. With 10:32 left in the game, McKnight's touchdown and the point after make it a 3-point game. 19-16, Washington State. Nicholas Setter kicks off. Fielded at the 1-yard line. Moore broke a tackle. And then taken down past the 20-yard line, short of the 25. There's Rima McKnight, the sophomore from La Palma, California, just scored his first Irish touchdown.
And watch the good route. Good slant, perfect throw by Holiday. Breaks the tackle to get in the end zone. So Carlisle Holiday made 2 great plays. One was really swiping the fumble away from Didi Achelanu and then making that perfect throw for the touch. So 2 good plays back-to-back by Holiday.
Rima McKnight now with 4 catches, 28 yards, including the biggest touchdown of his Irish career, the only one.
And now the Cougars have to turn it in a different gear. They got to play it really like an even game.
Matt Kegel on first down has a man open in the center of the defense. It's Darling. Garen Bible tackles him, but a nice gain and a first down for Washington State. He covered 14 yards, and Darling was wide open.
Indeed, he's been wide open over that middle. And DeVar Darling's one of those guys is not afraid to go over the middle and catch it. Right here, a little slant route. Perfect timing. Again, if you throw the ball on time in front of the receiver, you can get some yards after the catch, which indeed Darling did.
First down at the 37 of the Cougars. Flag down, and so is Jonathan Smith. Garen Bible, second straight tackle.
Penalty against the Cougars.
Illegal formation offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
Fourth time.
Penalties decline. Second down.
That is the 4th time they've only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
For all the good things they've done today, that's a curious lapse. Something they've not been able to correct. Penalty decline, making it second down and 10. Matt Kegel's had the hot hand lately. He's hit his last 6 passes in a row. Play action fake. Kegel rolling to his right, delivering the pass to his tight end again. Benneman this time, but a short gain just to the 41-yard line, tackled by Jerome Collins.
Very, very important down now for Matt Kegel. Even with a 3-point lead, it feels like they're losing. at this point. The momentum has really swung to the Irish.
And the fans
back in the game. And every receiver needs to get down past the first down marker. It's about 6 yards to go.
6 defensive backs here for the Irish. Duff, Jackson, Bible, Parrish, Burrell, Earl. Play clock at 2. That should be a delay call.
Yeah, it should be a delay call, right.
Finally, they see it.
Boy, that's a bad penalty. That is a really poor penalty on Washington State. Boy, they played so well and so poised.
Delay game, offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
You know, now you go from a 3rd and 5 where you could conceivably throw a screen, run a draw. Now it's a down. You throw down the field. 12 penalties now for over 100 yards.
They're down at 10. Clock shows 8 minutes, 45 and counting.
Protection first, and watch out for the top down. Here he's the guy who caused the fumble earlier.
Irish showing a blitz. They back out of it. Keegle scrambles. He's going to run for it. And he's hammered down at the 44-yard line, short of the first down by Garen Bible, who made 3 tackles on that series.
A smart play, though, by Keegle, not forcing it. But again, Kent Bear's defense, they do their job.
So Kyle Bosler will punt, and Julius Jones, who has a chance to set the all-time kickoff return record for the Irish this season, is going to return this punt instead of Duff. Low snap. Bosler. Nice punt.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Jones shouldn't field it there, and he doesn't. It goes into the end zone for the touchback. 55-yard punt, but the touchback will bring it out to the 20, where the Irish will take over, trailing by 3. 16, Irish take over at their own 20-yard line. Hand off to Ryan Grant. Spinning his way forward for 3 or 4 yards. Tackled by Al Genito.
Carlisle Holiday had a terrific series, that last series of his. And, he's had moments in his career. Last year in the opener against Maryland, he played sensationally. He was clutch at the end of the games. Last year against Michigan and Navy, played very well against Florida State, where he threw 2 touchdowns.
And here they are in their hurry-up offense. Notre Dame went 8 possessions without any points. Their last 5, they've gotten 16 points. Blitz from the Cougars. Holiday in the pocket. Down the sideline. Too far for his intended receiver, Omar Jenkins. Holiday hits the ground, and a flag does as well downfield. And Holiday is hurt.
I think they're going to call holding on Carl Pema, the corner.
Number 9 is the sophomore Pat Dillingham, or junior actually. He came in 7 games last season, had the 1 start.
Holding, defense, 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
The penalties continue to bedevil the Cougars while they deal with Carlisle Holiday's injury. Dillingham, you remember, the backup quarterback, former walk-on, had the game winner against Michigan State, started in the win against Stanford.
Brady Quinn is actually number 10 taking snaps.
Brady Quinn, the freshman, who we were told would be the backup. No college experience.
Wow. I mean, if they do put Brady Quinn in, they have an awful lot of confidence in the guy.
Quinn, the freshman, Dublin, Ohio, Kaufman High School, All-Stater, twice captain of his team. Last year in his senior season, passed for nearly 2,200 yards and 25 touchdowns. Holiday trots off the field.
Well, he's going to have to come out for at least a play.
Meanwhile, Pat, the 13th penalty against Washington State, 113 yards.
Now, if you're just going to run the ball, I'd put Pat Tilling and him in there and just make a handoff, right? I mean, if you're going to throw the ball, and Brady Quinn is supposed to have a great arm, you give him a chance.
It's going to be Quinn. So a freshman will take his first snap, opening game at Notre Dame Stadium with his team trailing by 3 and just over 7 minutes left.
Awesome experience for him.
How fast is his heart beating? First down play. It'll be a handoff. A handoff to Jones, Julius Jones.
You know, it's interesting talking to Bill Diedrich yesterday about Brady Quinn. He said if Brady Quinn comes in, we're not going to pull in our horns. I mean, we're going to, the entire playbook is available for him.
And interestingly, Carlisle Holiday is ready to come in, but so far has not been sent onto the field. And
I think they want to see one pass out of him at least.
It'll be Ryan Grant coming in, and Quinn stays at quarterback.
Surprised if he didn't get a chance to heave it once.
Meanwhile, Pat Julius Jones, 6 carries, 32 yards in his return to the Irish lineup. 2nd and 8. Blitz. Another handoff to Grant. Grant cuts back. Breaks free. Ryan Grant splits defenders. Grant to the 35. Hollered at the 25-yard line. Carl Pema prevented the touchdown. Good blocks from LaVore and Jenkins as Ryan Grant cuts back for 38 yards.
I tell you, this is a determined team and a determined run by Ryan Grant. Should have gone down 2 or 3 times early in this run. Right there. A missed tackle by Coleman. Goes to another arm tackle. And he does a great job of switching the ball into his left hand to keep prevent the fumble. And Mark LaVore, you mentioned the left guard. And then Omar Jenkins, the wide receiver. He does so many things well for the Irish. Throws a good block.
First down at the Cougar 27. Quinn still the quarterback. And the way they were jumping, it looked like a false start by the Irish. A couple of Washington State defenders flinched, but I think they were drawn off.
Before the snap, false start, offense, 5 yards to the previous spot. Still first down.
Ryan Grant, the big run for the Irish. The 5-yard penalty, though, makes it first down and 15.
One of the things about Tyrone Willingham, if you're capable of playing, he's going to play whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, a walk-on, a transfer, whatever. You can help his football team, you're going to play right now.
Jones through a big hole. Jones cuts back. Jones to the 11-yard line. Tackled by Isaac Brown. 21 yards as the Irish now begin to wear down Washington State with a run.
They had a great run by Ryan Grant. Then they give Julius Jones his chance, and he responds. I mean, they struggled so much with the run, but they just sensed they got back in the ball game. The offensive line did a better job, and these guys are breaking tackles.
Yeah, there was a huge hole then, but how nice is it to have fresh legs, having the 2 good running backs?
Indeed. And as we talked about, Ryan Grant at the end of last season was worn out.
Brady Quinn is still the quarterback. Cougars again showing blitz. And a handoff trying to turn the corner. Jones. And a nice tackle there made by Jeremy Bohannon, who took the legs out from underneath Julius Jones to stop him. He did get out of bounds. Clock arrested at 5:11. Spot the ball at the 14-yard line. A loss of 2 yards on the play, and Quinn is still not in the call for the pass.
But, you know, his body language, I think, is good. I mean, oftentimes you can tell by the body language of the quarterback whether the situation is too big for him, and it certainly does not look too big for Brady.
Full complement of timeouts on each side. 2nd down and 12. Quinn directing traffic like a veteran. And it could be delay a game, as Quinn was calling Omar Jenkins closer into the formation. He may have exceeded the 25-second clock.
Before the snap, full start, offense, 5 yards to the previous stop. Still 2nd down.
So it wasn't delay, false start. Is that different cadence?
Yeah, it could be. It could well be. And I think, you know, one of those, that play there, they were going to try to sneak out Powers Neal, the fullback, into the flat. That's why we wanted that receiver to come down a little tighter. The fullback was going to go out behind him and should have been open. I think they're going to call that again.
Went to the sideline to get the call.
But indeed, it is a different cadence.
Now 2nd and 17 after the 5-yard step off.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get the fullback in the flat. Nope.
Hand it to Jones. Jones trying to turn the corner. Breaking tackles. Julius Jones. Touchdown! What a run!
delighted with the return of Julius Jones.
Julius Jones, his first touchdown since he scored against Nebraska in 2000.
On a kickoff return, right? It was a kickoff return.
That one went 19 yards as he broke about 3 tackles to get in the end zone. Seta for the point after. Up and through. Well, there's been a lot of speculation on what the return of Julius Jones would mean for the Notre Dame offense. You have your answer. Diving for the score, and for the first time this season, Notre Dame is in front. The touchdown by Julius Jones, a determined 19-yard gallop, makes it 23-19. Notre Dame has the lead for the first time, 23-19 with 5:03 left. Washington State needs a touchdown. A field goal will leave them a point short. Here's Nicholas Seta's kick. Moore and Smith with a deep man. Then another strong kick from Seta sends Moore right out of the end zone.
Well, let's go have a look at this run by Julius Jones, because although it was well blocked, watch the power and the strength of Julius Jones. He should have been tackled there at least once, and bounces off a couple of other bodies. You know, Tom, we talked about how he went in the offseason to live with his brother in Arizona, work on his strength, eating better, and he looks a lot stronger to me.
Yeah, the word was he had come back after his year absence, much stronger, and he certainly looked it on that 19-yard tackle-breaking play.
I mean, for a team, Washington State, who has tackled so well all day, he broke some big tackles right there.
It's almost like they've worn them down here in the fourth quarter, because suddenly Notre Dame has come alive. Meanwhile, Matt Kegel trying to pull it out for the Cougars. He's hit his last 7 passes. That looked like a false start.
Boy, they've had a lot of them. And, you know, there's 5 minutes left in this game. I mean, there's a lot of twists and turns left in this football game. So Notre Dame can't get too excited about taking the lead. They've got another good defensive series is what they need.
False start, offense. 5 yards from previous spot, still first down.
Now from the 15-yard line, first down and 15. Bill Doba bringing his Cougars into Notre Dame Stadium for the first time ever. Homecoming for the man who celebrates his 63rd birthday tomorrow. Dominating the game until the Irish come alive late. Kegel. That could have been an interference call. I thought
it was.
Glenn Earl got there early.
Yep. It was on number 80, Cody Boy, who was trying to get the ball to. I thought he hit him a little bit early, but no flags.
We're going to throw a flag on our statsman today. That was Julius Jones' first touchdown since Navy in 2001.
There we go. In any event, they were happy to have it at the appropriate time.
Second down and 15. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield. Kegel batted in the air and incomplete.
I'm not sure, Derek Curry, maybe 49, got his hand on it.
Or Greg Pauly, I'm not sure. Somebody there in the center.
It's a big tip regardless. I tell you, one of the things on the Irish, I'm certainly going to try to take away DeVar Darling on this 3rd and 15.
He can stretch the field. Here's 3rd down and 15. Big play in the game right here. Washington State looking to convert on 3rd and long. Matt Kegel. Hit as he releases, and it's intercepted. Derek Curry picked it off for Notre Dame.
That was a poor decision and perhaps a poor throw. And Matt Kegel hasn't made many of them today, but that certainly was. At no time did that ball have a chance to be caught by a Washington State player.
Kyle Budensack, defensive end for the Irish, injured on the play. Here's the interception.
They're really just kind of playing that prevent in the zone, thrown right to him.
And the pressure on Kegel, I think, hit just as he released, might have meant that he came up short on the throw. Watch it. There's Hilliard that got him.
Yeah, he couldn't really get a lot of steam on it.
Or it was actually Darrell Campbell that hit him.
Well, the Washington State defense now has to respond. And Notre Dame's defense has.
Curry, who made the interception, the senior from Sealy, Texas.
You know, it's amazing. When we watched the Notre Dame team at halftime going in, and a lot of them had their heads, you know, they were hanging their heads. This is an incredibly inspired Notre Dame team right now.
Offensive explosion in the fourth quarter. Carlisle Holiday returns at quarterback. Notre Dame has Grant and Jones together rushing for 164 yards. Grant has 95. And the handoff to Ryan Grant. Flag is down as he stopped at the line of scrimmage by Don Jackson.
Boy, there's been a lot of penalties.
And a hold against the Irish.
Flag on the play.
Still 4:45 left. And with the penalty, the Irish will be penalized on the play and face first and long.
Holding, offense, 10 yards from previous spot, still first down.
And let's take a look at our ADT defensive play of the game. Again, a defensive play, Pat, that really turned the game around.
Yeah, you remember, Vontez Duff, who caused this fumble by a terrific hit. I mean, that really started the momentum shift. It got the Irish right back at the game, and now they lead by 4.
But they face a first down and 20 from the 45-yard line of the Cougars. Vontez Duff with that defensive play. You figured he'd be right in the middle of something if the Irish were to make a comeback. Had a good return, had some defensive plays, and sure enough, Duff was in the middle of the action as the Irish have turned it around in the second half.
And Omar Jenkins up here, number 80. He's done a lot of little things well for the Irish, blocking, caught a couple passes.
Ryan Grant ridden down at the line of scrimmage and then thrown back by the Cougar defense, led by Achelonu.
Each of these teams in the second half have taken their turn of being conservative. It's really almost like an even game. With 4 minutes left, Washington State is fully capable of driving down the field because of the wide receivers they have. There's always that danger of playing a little too close to the vest, which Washington State, I think, did in the third quarter.
Well, they had that 6.5-minute drive, and it looked like they were doing exactly the right thing by chewing up the clock, because the Notre Dame offense has shown no signs of life. So in the fourth quarter here, they've completely turned it around. Carlisle Holiday after the feint. Holiday turns the corner and then driven out of bounds. Coleman and David put Carlisle Holiday out of bounds. 13-yard gain.
Would they give Nick Setta a chance? This is fourth, right?
They're going to put the ball at the 33-yard line. It'll be a long one.
Am I wrong? Is this third or fourth down?
Third down after the penalty.
Excuse me. I lost it down to the penalty. Okay, what Washington State was so successful in that first half is blitzing Carlisle Holiday. In the second half, they really haven't gotten to him much. They went 5 sacks in the first half. I do not believe they've sacked him in the second.
Well, Notre Dame really has apparently altered their protection to pick up those blitzes.
Just executed better as well.
Showing blitz here. And a handoff to Jones. Julius Jones to the 30-yard line. Yes. Eric Coleman with a tackle. He says, I wasn't down.
Well, I think you got to give Seth a chance to try to make it a 7-point game, don't you?
Sure. 3 minutes, 11 seconds left.
Tyrone's going to wait.
4th down and 5 facing the Irish.
The Cougars call timeout.
Clock stopped at the 3:07 mark. As the Cougars, in anticipation of getting the ball back, stop the clock. And that is their first time out of the second half.
Nick Setta, who's doing both the punting and the kicking this year, really had, I consider, 3 separate seasons a year ago. Got off to a great start. Started 6 of 7, then it hit a slump. Went 2 for 11, then finished strongly at 6 and 7. And I think Tyrone Willingham handled that slump, that 2 and 11 slump, I think as well as a coach can. I believe you handle quarterbacks and kickers a little bit differently. Remember, we talked to him, he said, he's not having a slump, they're just not going in for him. And he hung in there and was patient with his kicker and was rewarded at the end of the year.
And that missed 47-yarder today was a botched hold, actually. Wasn't Setta's fault. And Coach Willingham expressed some concern about the different leg motions required to both punt and place kick, and Setta dismissed that. He just laughed. He said, no, that's not going to bother me at all. He said, if you think that when I'm going to attempt a punt that I will give it the cross-leg field goal kick motion, you're incorrect. It shouldn't be a problem. So,
well, last year there were 7 guys who did both in the NCAA, which I found a little surprising. A lot of them. Here they are, all 7, the big ones at UCLA. And so it's a rare thing indeed 119 Division I schools.
It's like about a 47-yard attempt.
We've talked about this guy blocking him in the past.
Seta from 47 yards. Has it up, and it is good.
Great opening game for Nick Seta, just as it was last year when he went 5 for 5 against Maryland. Well, you know, in your opening game, you're so glad to have your kicker and your punter back. And for Tyrone, it's the same guy.
Looks like a different Irish team in the second half. Their lead is 7. Of the game rushed for a total of 21 yards.
In both of those guys to spot one another, because as we talked about, Ryan Grant had a great first 8 games but got tired, but now he's got Julius Jones to help him.
Seta kicking to Moore and Smith. Another excellent Seta kick halfway through the end zone, down there by Moore. They'll take over at the 20. And we invite you to join us in 2 weeks. We'll be back here in South Bend for the 3rd game of the season for the Fighting Irish as they take on the Spartans of Michigan State. Remember last season up at East Lansing, the Irish just pulled out a last-second victory against the Spartans with Dillingham throwing, I think, to Arnaz Battle, the game winner.
Yeah, that's right.
That's Michigan State and Notre Dame, presented by Hall's Fruit Breezers. 2 weeks, Saturday, September 20th, here on NBC.
And Michigan State has Jeff Smoker back at quarterback, new head coach.
Kegel behind his intended receiver Lundy, and incomplete.
And Scott Lundy's made some good catches today, but that was one that was almost impossible to catch. Here's a guy who's in his senior year, actually his 5th year in this program, but this is the very first year that he's got his picture in the program, believe it or not. And he started last year.
Seniors always get a full page picture in the media guide for the Cougars. 2nd and 10. Kegel with a little touch pass, and it's complete to Green. Jermaine Green out of the backfield.
Good end of the run there by Green.
Crosses the first down marker and keeps the chains moving for the Cougars.
Yeah, he would have been stopped short of the first down, but nice, powerful run. 4th quarter today for the Irish. 20 points, the 2 touchdowns. They played well on defense with the 2 forced turnovers, and they ran the ball. All the things they did poorly in that first quarter and first half, they certainly turned around here in the 4th quarter.
I haven't seen too many more dramatic turnarounds than what the Irish have done. They were absolutely dismal on offense.
Well, Vontez Duff, it was the defense again. Vontez Duff got it started with a forced turnover.
Matt Kegel. Pass to Darling to the 40-yard line. Ball came loose. I think it'll be a reception and down just short of the 40-yard line. Kegel rushed hard and batted incomplete. Darrell Campbell knocked the ball down. Big number 60 for the Irish. 300 pounds of it.
And Travis Lightco, number 97, in there as well. But Derry Campbell, what a year he had a year ago. Kent Bear said to us yesterday that when he's in the game, we're just a lot better defensive team. Lightco's number 97 coming off the corner, but it was Campbell who tipped it with his left hand.
Campbell had 6 sacks a season ago.
Well, a good defensive line, the Irish. And some depth this year.
3rd down and 2. 4 wide receivers, 2 to either side. Kegel, swing pass out of the backfield to Green. Green fighting his way toward the sideline and gets out of bounds, picks up a first down. Preston Jackson forced him out for the Irish.
Yeah, so Green did 2 things well. You see the last 11 possessions, not much happening. But Jermaine Green did two things well there. Caught the ball for the first down, then got out of bounds.
Washington State, the showing of the Notre Dame.
Again, the 4 receiver formation with 1 running back. That's their first down of the 4th quarter. Hand it to Jermaine Green. Lowers his head for a gain of 9. Tackled by Curry.
Jermaine Green is a powerful guy, but a year ago he had an 80-yard run against UCLA and another 80-yard run against USC. So he's capable of taking it a long way.
Can't afford to tie your shoe right here.
No. Miscommunication.
Kegel calling the play at the line of scrimmage, but a lot of precious seconds ticking away.
That was too much time.
Matt Kegel double pumps, finds a man. Did he get a foot down?
I think he did. Remarkable catch there.
Chris Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan got a foot down. Excellent catch by Chris Jordan, the freshman from Kent, Washington. Redshirt freshman.
Coach is talking to us about the big upside that Chris Jordan has. Watch as he catches it, and then just the presence of knowing exactly where he has to get that toe down. The 1 foot, the left foot came down.
Beautiful.
Yeah, excellent.
So first down for the Cougars from the 28-yard line of Notre Dame. And timeout taken by the Irish. So Notre Dame calls timeout with 1:14. Yeah, touchdown! Sammy Moore.
There is a flag, I think, but he did catch it. I think it's interference and a touchdown. Unbelievable. Sammy Moore, so athletic. In the Rose Bowl, returns a kick for a touchdown. He grabbed that with one hand, I think.
34 yards. What a catch by Moore, despite being bumped by the defender. At least that's what it appeared.
It appeared to me. But he's clearly the flag, but he did absolutely catch it. Wow.
Pass interference, defense. That penalty is refused. Touchdown, Washington State. So a clutch drive by the Cougars at Vildoba with Sammy Moore, the senior from Mesa, Arizona.
And watch the focus and the concentration and then the athleticism. He gets bumped there by 15 Jackson, and then he comes down with the ball. That's a great play.
Now they missed an extra point earlier, which looms large now. This one's a tie, and it doesn't look pretty again. It sidewinds its way through. It's good, and Drew Dunning has tied it up with a point after.
What a fun game, isn't it? Back and forth and back and forth.
This catch was a thing of beauty.
Watch him up here. Had to adjust to the ball first, then gets bumped, and then the one-handed stab.
He kind of had an arm out himself, you know that? When he was bumped, he was kind of extending his arm. Interesting call.
I tell you, though, this is, again, a little kind of a wobbler, underthrown ball, the Oregon Duck ball, but just keeping it alive. And then the concentration. He kind of batted it to himself. Boy.
Had it been a tight spiral, he probably wouldn't have been able to sort of deflect it to himself. It would have, if it were going so hard.
You're right, but it had been a little better thrown, a little more.
Start with.
Yeah, it might have been an easier touchdown.
Well, Washington State led 19-0. Then Notre Dame scored 26 straight points. And now Washington State, clutch with 53 seconds on the clock, scores to tie the game.
Now, one thing, Notre Dame may get a chance to have good field position because remember, Washington State has squibbed it every time, which has worked for them. I think it's the right strategy. But if one of those up guys can get this squib thing, they may get the ball around the 40, 45-yard line.
McKnight and Jones are the deep backs. It's another squib kick. It will be taken by Julius Jones. Nowhere to go. Flag down. Late flag.
Another
Julius Jones.
It's been a flag fest this afternoon, and it's against Notre Dame. Scott Davis made the special teams tackle, Irish penalty.
Looks like one of the dorm games with all the flags.
No, they let them play.
That's true. Bad analogy. I apologize. They went from an ugly game to a rather interesting game.
Over the space of 4 hours or so.
By the receiving team during the run back. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Notre Dame.
Almost 4 hours with the prospect of overtime looming.
Well, I'm not sure what happened today in college football, but I don't believe there's been an overtime game yet this season. I haven't, to my knowledge.
Brady Quinn, the freshman quarterback, thrown into the fire right away. Now Carlisle Holiday under center, and the Irish at their own 12-yard line. Got to be careful for a turnover here that could lose the game for you. They're going to throw it. Holiday across the middle. Complete for a short gain. Rima McKnight and Will Dirting on the tackle. Holiday calling the play at the line of scrimmage. That one gained about 5 yards.
Will Dirting, gain of 5.
2 timeouts remaining for the Irish.
Isaac Brown came charging across the line of scrimmage, but he might have been drawn.
He was pointing at Jim
Before the snap, false start offense. 5 yards for
False start at Notre Dame.
second down.
Nicholas Setta, will it come down to his toe?
No, you know, we said it at the very beginning of the show that sometime this year, the way they play offense, he's going to have a chance to win maybe a couple of ball games.
Meanwhile, the Irish here letting the clock tick away down to 20 seconds. They are deep in their own territory.
I think that's the right play, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Get into overtime. You've got a great kicker. You may have to score a touchdown, but you know you have a great kicker.
And Holiday just takes a knee. Too dangerous so deep in your own territory where a turnover could cost you the game in regulation. Instead, regroup for overtime.
Well, I'll tell you, Tyrone is happy about overtime. If you asked him at the end of the halftime,
That's right.
would you take an overtime game? He'd say absolutely. Absolutely.
Last Notre Dame overtime game against Air Force.